Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Keep this in mind.
The #1 seed amongst all sports talk hosts.
This is all or nothing for the Rockets. That ship has sailed.
Impossible to upset.
Don't touch anything over here, okay?
Okay, possible to upset, but very difficult usually.
The Lakers worked really hard to get that #1 seed in the Western Conference, and their reward was the 8th seed Portland Trailblazers. Bring in Chris Mannix, who joins us from the bubble.
Blazers, they don't defend anybody, and they haven't really defended anybody, but I'm far less bullish on Portland's chances to upset the Lakers now. The McCollum injury bothers me. Who defends LeBron?
Nobody does.
I don't know how they pull that off.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour 1 on this Tuesday. Dan the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. We'll talk to Reggie Miller. He'll join us a little bit later on. Talk about the games yesterday, last night. Some controversy in the Mavs game against the Clippers. And, of course, the Lakers go into battle against the Blazers. So Reg will join us. Peter King from NBC Sports. He's on the road covering the NFL. And we're hearing now the Kansas City Chiefs will allow about 16,500 fans, 22% of capacity. At least that's what they're planning on. Dallas, the Cowboys have talked about this. Jerry Jones has talked about this. But we'll talk to Peter about that. A few other things going on with the NFL. Also, he spent some time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Got a chance to talk to him. So Peter joins us a little bit later on. You can get in touch if you'd like. Variety of ways. You can dial us up, 877-3DP-SHOW. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. When we say good morning, chat row, those watching on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show, and our great radio affiliates around the country. Mario is putting the finishing touches on a tutorial to help you go from YouTube to Peacock on Monday. That's when we make the official move from youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show to Peacock. It's very simple. It's going to take you about 20 seconds, maybe a minute at the most, but you'll be able to find us there, and we're very excited about it. That takes place on Monday. Also, if you want to get involved in the next great podcast, come on in, but you got a lot of competition. Just got the numbers yesterday. We're going to have close to 500 entries and so many great ideas for the nextgreatpodcast.com. We're going to somehow try to filter this down to 10 semifinalists, and the winner, I'm going into business with you. We will help produce and finance a podcast for an entire year, thanks to our relationship with iHeartRadio. Yes, Paulie?
I submitted one about foliage. Did anyone else do that, or am I alone on that one?
You are alone right now on
Lovely.
that. But I don't like to give out, some of the topics, subjects that people... Now, all of a sudden, there's going to be a wave of foliage podcast.
Should have shut up.
Yes, you should have. You had cornered the market. I got one on shark sightings from the beach, and it was not under McLovin's name, but it was under Sarah.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
So your wife's name is Sarah. So I don't know if that's, any relation, but it was Shark Sightings from the Shore, I think was the title of the podcast.
From the shore.
From the shore. Yes, Eden.
Do you think, Paul, if your foliage podcast takes off, you'll leave the show?
Oh, oh, somebody in the back row just woke up.
Leave the show.
He'll
Nice.
be leaving the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Todd, you all right?
I'm fine.
All right. You seem a little on edge here.
Well, my son, I don't know if you've heard, is heading to
Oh.
Syracuse tomorrow.
Oh, okay. And you're
We're
driving.
actually taking him. He's not going on his own.
Oh.
So he has to be, we got to nest him into his freshman dorm, and we got a lot of emotions going on.
I don't think you nest.
He's still my little boy. I know he's 18 and in college and all that, but, we still have to.
You reading some kind of parenting book or something? That
Yeah.
sounds like something that you just got from like chapter 14 of the,
Yeah.
dad book.
Are you going to teach him how to make a bed? Because someone's going to teach you
Well, I
first.
don't know how to. I'm dealing with some mixed emotions. That's okay.
I know, but just give me 3 hours here.
I can do that.
Okay, but you've been wandering a little bit.
I got to pull it back together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going
Todd's son is leaving for college.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
on. Pandemic and protocols and masks and
And nesting, apparently.
nesting, virtual classes, getting all this stuff.
Those are things he has to deal with, not you.
That's true.
This program brought to you by LegalZoom. You can start online, network of independent attorneys providing advice when you need it. Since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you don't have to leave your home. Visit LegalZoom.com today for more information. Yeah, my daughter went back to school, but she's taking classes on campus, virtually. I'm thinking, did you have to go back to college to take classes virtually? And then, as I was told, well, that probably allows these universities to charge you the full ticket price, that there's no bargains here. And so, hey, they're on campus, but they're not in classrooms right now. So I don't know if other people are dealing with that, but that was I texted my daughter yesterday. I said, hey, classes start? She goes, yeah, but I'm in my room. We're doing it virtually. I'm going, why did you go back? She said, well, I don't know. I guess they got to validate, charging you all that money for tuition. All right, McLevin will have a poll question, I believe. It was great yesterday. There was a March Madness feel to this. Now, you didn't have multiple games going on at the same time, but you did have games starting in the afternoon, back to back to back to back, and it was a lot of fun. Nuggets and the Jazz, that was a lot of fun. When you're putting up 57 on a Monday afternoon, that was an impressive performance. Donovan Mitchell. But it did feel like Donovan Mitchell-esque that he would put it up on a Monday afternoon, and I don't know how many. You'd have to be a diehard NBA fan to be watching that game. And then you get overshadowed by, Porzingis putting up 42 and Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis getting thrown out of the game with 2 technicals, which we'll talk about in a moment. Celtics and the 76ers. I realize the 76ers don't have a player who can beat you off the dribble. Other than that, good luck against the Celtics. The Raptors look very impressive against the Nets, but there's no surprise there. Magic and the Bucks tonight, Heat, Pacers, Thunder, Rockets, and then it'll be Blazers and the Lakers. McLevin, you got a poll question for me today.
Yeah, I asked you this before the show, and you didn't really bite on it, but I'm going to try it again.
All right.
Which was a better supporting cast for Kawhi Leonard? Last year in Toronto with Kyle Lowry, MVP candidate Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and Marc Gasol, or this year with what we saw last night with Beverly, George, Marcus Morris, Montrezl Harrell, or Zubats, or one of those guys? I don't even think it's close.
Well, I think Toronto, there was a team feel to it where the Clippers feel like they have individual parts. Toronto, they understood their roles. But as I said yesterday, I think the Clippers are going to they'll struggle a little bit in the opening round because they haven't been together. They're trying to get that familiarity here. And I think it's going to take them a little bit of time. And plus, keep in mind, Dallas puts up points. If Porzingis doesn't get tossed, I wouldn't have been surprised if Dallas won that game last night. Even though, Luka had 11 turnovers, this is the highest scoring team in the NBA. And I just didn't get, it felt like there was a little bit more a sense of urgency with Dallas, although you'd never know it by the way they start. They were down 18-2. The Clippers, it felt like, this is an opening round match. Let's kind of get our sea legs here and get familiarized with everybody on this team. And that would have been one that I thought the Mavs were going to steal one. And that might be the case with Portland tonight against the Lakers. Are we going to see a Portland team that is still in playoff mode, scratching and clawing to get in? Or are they going to be spent? And are the Lakers going to all of a sudden go, okay, now we need to turn it on. We got to start playing basketball here. Yeah, McLevin.
I just look at the Clippers' talent. I mean, it's a lot of like Marcus Morris, Patrick Beverly. I mean, retreads. Like these are not.
But they play roles.
There's a million role players there. I think Toronto has 4 stars on their, like all-star level players, and the Clippers have a bunch of journeymen. I mean, come on, Marcus Morris. How many? That's like the 8th playoff team we've seen him on.
I know, but if
years.
you fill a role, great teams have role players because you have a couple of stars, and then you need people to play, certain minutes and do certain things.
But isn't there this narrative that the Clippers are loaded with stars?
No, depth.
I feel like people think the Clippers have tons and tons of talent.
Well,
Because of Paul George and Kawhi. I mean, because they're so top heavy.
Yeah, but the Lakers don't have a ton of talent. They're top heavy with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. A lot of these teams are top heavy. The Rockets, Westbrook and Harden. You're finding you got two really good players, great players, and then what do you have left? Dallas, top heavy. Porzingis and Doncic. 76ers would have been top heavy with Simmons and Embiid. Tatum and Brown. Jaylen Brown last night was wonderful. He was really, him and Jason Tatum, that's quite a pairing there for guys who are, 22, 23 years of age. And the future right there. Yeah, Paul.
But it does feel like there's a confidence in the Clippers because of what Kawhi did last year with a bunch of guys who the average fan doesn't know. Pascal Siakam. Kyle Lowry's pretty well known, but he's not a household name or anything, even though they're very good players. And they look at what Kawhi did last year and say he could easily do this again. He's had a healthy year. He's managed his minutes. He basically took 4 months off. That's why the confidence is so high.
I think Toronto is a better team last year's supporting cast. But once again, they knew what they were supposed to do and when they were supposed to do it. The Clippers are still kind of trying to figure that out here. And, depending on what you get from Dallas, it's either going to be a real struggle or maybe last night was the only tough game that they're going to have. But, Porzingis got tossed. And, I know that they don't like the visual of, players getting together and maybe pushing each other. And it's a quick whistle. And the other one he never should have been teed up for, where he blocked a shot and he, kind of swung his fist in the air, not at anybody, but they ran him and they never should have. This is playoff basketball. The Mavs are in the playoffs. They haven't been in the playoffs. And you're facing the Clippers. I understand that you're on edge there. You're fighting for everything there. And I thought the NBA did a real disservice to the game last night because Porzingis never should have been tossed from that game. Here is Rick Carlisle, the Mavs head coach, on Porzingis.
The thing that happened with KP, it's just unfortunate. We just learned from it, and we got to understand this is part of the emotions of the playoffs. He's protecting his teammate on the second technical, which is the right thing to do in the playoffs. But the first one where it was an air punch, that's automatic. They call one on him, they call one on George. So we'll avoid that in game 2, and we'll go from there.
They should have teed up Morris as well in the other altercation there between those two. I was surprised because I went, wow, they just tossed him. Here is Luka Doncic talking about Porzingis being ejected.
I knew KP had my back, he did it for me, he did it for his teammate, he had my back, and not just me, the whole team appreciate that. I don't think it was fair to get him out of the game, especially in the playoffs, but they decided, so we had to play without him, which was tough.
So that's Luka Doncic, and then you have the games coming up tonight. Not lost in this, but part of this game was Doncic putting up 42 points. Now, he did have 11 turnovers. He said he played terrible, which he didn't play terrible, but those 11 turnovers, at worst, you got to cut that in half. But you also understand if you watch him play, he gets forced into a lot of situations. He doesn't have bailout players there. So he really has to take it upon himself. And when Porzingis went out, Doncic took it upon himself to keep them in the game. Here is Paul George and his thoughts on Luka Doncic.
He's the future. We didn't come in this thinking we was going to stop Luka, but what we did expect was to make it tough for him. And that's the thing about these series. These games add up, and we're going to continue to try to wear him down as much as possible.
And that's the key. You just throw different bodies, different sizes at him, quickness, size, speed, and you just hope that he wears down. But he is young, and if Porzingis is able to contribute the way he has been in the bubble, then, they're going to be a tough out. I kept saying all along, Dallas to me is as tough an out as Portland is. If Dallas was playing the Lakers, we would be talking about the Mavericks being a tough out. And if Portland was playing the Clippers, we wouldn't be talking as much about it. It comes down to it's LeBron James, and people are trying to get LeBron James into their shows, into the vernacular, into the dialogue here. All right, 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle @DP Show. Any other poll question suggestions there, McLevin?
Okay, off of what you were saying about Tatum and Brown, which young duo would you pick if you could start a team? Luka, 20, and Kristaps, 25. Porzingis, that is. Tatum is 22, and Brown is 23, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
And how about Denver? Jamal Murray is 23, and Jokic is only 25. And do they fit in that category? I don't know why no one talks about Jamal Murray amongst this 25 and under stars.
Yeah, he gets lost in Devin Booker shadow. I think that, he's a good player. Not a great player. He's a good player. If DeAndre Ayton was a little better, then you might look at that duo too in Phoenix. But it still comes down to Doncic, who I think is going to win multiple MVPs.
Hot.
And Tatum and Brown, that's a really good duo. But I think Porzingis can still be even better. And, because he does at times put up numbers, and he gives you everything. He gives you points, rebounds, and blocks. And he can shoot threes. Luka gives you everything as well. I would say that I would go Dallas just because of Luka's age, that he's only 20 and he's doing this. Yeah, Paul.
I was just looking at the schedule tonight. I got to tell you, from a East Coast standpoint, 9 o'clock start for a Lakers playoff game. It's usually 10:30. This time last year, that'd be a 10:30 tip-off.
Yeah.
Rockets, Thunder, 6 o'clock. West Coast, you're going to be coming home from work, and the game's going to be rolling.
Heat and Pacers, that'll be a little spicy. Magic Bucks, I don't expect much out of that. Thunder Rockets without Russell Westbrook could be challenging for the Rockets against the Thunder. All the Thunder trying to do is, if we get 1 or 2 games here, then all of a sudden, even if Westbrook comes back, Oklahoma City, Chris Paul, couldn't coexist with James Harden. Harden wanted him out. They traded him. They got Russell Westbrook here. Chris Paul is playing well. Like when you want somebody to run a point, we get the old way you ran a point is you actually were a leader out there. You were a point guard and pointing people in the right direction. The position has changed and, the lines are blurred in what we want out of a point guard. Chris Paul is playing old-time, old-style point guard. And Oklahoma City has become a dangerous team here. Yes,
I bet you these players love playing the early games, though. Instead of waiting around all day for the game, instead it's like 1:30. You get to play. You're out by dinner.
Yeah.
Go home. You get to watch a little more basketball. That's a pretty great schedule.
Yeah. When you consider you're in the bubble and you sit around all day.
All day.
Man, it'd be great to be playing basketball in, 4 hours from now. You're like, let's get it out of the way.
Even the 4 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Like, all right, a late dinner. No big deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, I might go watch one of these games there, come back. That'd be good. I mean, you want to be in prime time. But if I'm in the bubble and I got nothing else to do, I'd be like, yeah, I'll play. I'll play at 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm okay with that. All right, 18 after the hour, we'll take a break, and we'll get to phone calls here. We'll settle on a poll question. Big controversy with my San Diego Padres. Big controversy. You didn't even realize there was a big controversy. I'll have that for you coming up next because baseball's unwritten rules, once again, were broken. Have that for you coming up next. This is the Dan Patrick Show. BuyRaycon.com. You're going to check out my everyday E25 earbuds. The best ones yet, 6 hours of playtime, and I love playtime. Seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, more compact design, gives you nice noise-isolating fit. And the Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of the other premium wireless earbuds in the market, and they sound just as amazing as the other top audio brands that you know. They're comfortable, perfect for a conference call, video chats, binging podcast. Also, they're stylish, discreet, no dangling wires or stems there. And once you put them on, you're going to realize that there's a different feel and a different sound to them. Snoop Dogg swears by them, so does Cardi B. You can get 15% off your order. It's already a low price. It's already half the price of these premium wireless earbuds. And then they're taking 15% off of that. Go to buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick for 15% off your Raycon wireless earbuds. When Patrick Mahomes was coming out and the scouts looked at him, they said, Favre-like and gunslinger. It almost felt like that was a negative. Like it almost feels like gunslinger is undisciplined. But
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I can see where that. And I've had a chance to, of course, Andy and I go way back. I think the world of Andy. I think you, Dan. I mean, Andy. His reputation is outstanding for grooming young quarterbacks and just guys playing for him. Every guy that's ever played for Andy Reid, I would think there may be somebody out there who thinks he's a bad coach or thinks he's a bad guy, but I don't know who that is. But I had a chance to visit about a month and a half ago. I went up and Peter King and I did a little. We spent a day with Patrick and Andy, and one of the things, like I told Patrick, I said, I see the comparison in some respects. I said, but the difference is, and the same thing with Baker Mayfield. I've heard the comparisons as well. The difference is they're more polished, and what I mean by that is they threw for more yards in college, and were in much bigger games and settings. And coming from college to pro is not really a step up as far as an offensive playbook perspective.
Yeah.
When I came out of college, I started all 4 years. I threw 52 touchdowns in all 4 years combined. Guys throw that in a season, easily. And reading defenses and just how you change protections and all that stuff. I didn't really get that until my 10th year in the NFL. And of course the game changed and evolved to that, where nowadays it's a passing friendly league. And, one of my coaches in college, and I tell people this all the time, I said, what do we do? What do I do if they blitz? And my coach looked at me and he said, you make some happen. That's what you do. That was the coaching advice. And that was right up my alley, because I didn't want to have to change protections based on what defense was coming. I didn't have that knowledge. I ran the wishbone. So what I could do was make guys miss and buy some time and sling one. So it took me a long time to kind of develop a somewhat of a disciplined sense of playing the position. But these guys are coming in a lot more. Now, they can make plays with their feet and buy time and all that stuff, but they're a lot more polished.
This award-nominated show is brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT four-door coupe, because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you miss any interviews from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to danpatrick.com. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG, driving performance. I will bring up the topic that happened last night with the San Diego Padres game against the Rangers. And Fernando Tatis Jr., he was swinging on a 3-0 count. And, of course, you can't do that if you're up by a certain number of runs, apparently. So I'll have that for you coming up next segment here, because that is our play of the day. This announcement by the Kansas City Chiefs, I haven't seen too many articles on it, but I was a little bit surprised that they actually have a number in mind of fans who are going to be able to go to Kansas City Chiefs games. And they're looking at about 22% of capacity, which we did the math. It's around 17,000 fans. I don't know how you pick the fans that get to go in. Because if you're going to have a lottery with season ticket holders and then you rotate there, how do you decide? Do you want to go to the first game? Do you want to go to a great matchup with somebody? I don't know how they're going to do that, but the Chiefs announced that yesterday. The Falcons have said that they are keeping with state and local requirements. Capacity at home games would be 10 to 20,000 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, if fans are allowed. The Ravens, they said that season tickets for 2020 will be deferred to 2021. If they're able to, under state and local government rules and regulations, have fans attend the games, then they will talk about the percentage that can go. Buffalo Bills, back in July, said that still in the process of planning for the possibility of limited amounts of spectators. The Bears said they're not going to have fans in the stands. The Bengals probably won't have fans in the stands. There'll be no tailgating. The Packers, no fans in the stands. Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones said, we're having fans in the stands. And it feels like it's going to be a lot more than 17,000 fans there at Jerry World. Now, this is subject to change, obviously. But the Chiefs announced that capacity will be capped at 22%. Raiders, one of the first teams to announce there would be no fans at their home games either. Patriots said back in mid-July they're expecting about 20% capacity at Gillette Stadium. But everybody has to go through the state and local approvals before they're able to officially announce something here. The New Orleans Saints announced home opener in the Superdome, played without fans in attendance. That game, of course, will be with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The Giants and Jets, they announced that they would not have fans in the stands until further notice. The Washington football team, who knows? I'm not sure if they're going to have fans. It feels like, according to at least one team official, there'd be no fans in the stands at FedEx Field in Maryland. But that's just an update right now. And we'll talk to Peter King about this coming up next hour with Kansas City Chiefs announcing this. How do you decide who you're letting in? And some of these other stadiums, just the protocol of going in. Imagine this. If you ever have flown internationally and they say show up 3 hours before the flight, that's what you might have. That might be the scenario here at these stadiums. That'll be, this is where you enter, this is what you're allowed to do, and this is where you exit. And if you get up to go to the concession stand or the bathroom, you must wear your mask. Then you might be able to pull this off. But that's probably what's going to happen. When you get there, you must get there in this amount of time for you to be allowed to go in. And you're going to go in one area and you'll exit in another area. And whatever testing we have by then, whatever the protocols are, if it's measuring your temperature, but it feels like you're probably going to have to get there early and go through protocols to be able to go in and watch a football game. Yeah, Paul.
I'm curious if the teams that are having 25% or 20% of fans in will allow alcohol sales, because crowd control and alcohol rarely mix well by the time you get to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but you have these owners who are going to lose $100 million.
Yeah.
They want all the concessions that they can make, especially Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones, he owns the company that provides the concessions for all these football teams. So if Jerry wants it, I'm going to guess that we're probably going to have that here. But they're going to lose somewhere between $75 and $100 million, these owners. And that's why they're going to try to get everything they possibly can. Do you waive a parking fee, which I know it sounds crazy for me to say that, but just as a way of saying to your fan base, thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming into the game. Now, I know it's pie in the sky. I'm always looking for owners to give something back to fans, and I don't know why I keep doing it. Maybe one day an owner goes, I was thinking maybe I'll give back to the fans. And it'll be Daniel Snyder in Washington. It must be really important. You've raised your hand twice, Todd. Yes.
There's also a fear when you give something back, whether it's something for free or at a discounted price, and how do you go back again? Then that price becomes that much more profound if you went from spending $50, $60 on parking to nothing, and then it's going to all of a sudden go back to that price. It's going to be a real sticker shock kind of thing.
Would you go to the game? Let's say you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and you got tickets, and you could go see any of their 8 home games. Would you go? Paulie, I'll start with you.
I'm leaning towards yes. I look at it like going to the beach. If you can control yourself and the entrance-exit policy is controlled, once you get to the game, you can kind of protect yourself.
I don't worry about me.
No, I know. I
worry about everybody else. It's like when you ride a motorcycle. You don't worry about you. You worry about everybody else who's on the road. And that would be my concern. Seton, would you go to a Kansas City Chiefs game?
Not right now, but maybe sometime during the season.
Fritzy?
I miss going to sporting events, but I'm not ready. I haven't gone inside a restaurant or even sitting with the outdoor patio thing, so I'm not at that place yet.
McLovin?
Yeah, I would go.
Really?
Well, yeah.
How come?
Well, I mean, we've talked about I had it in April.
Yeah.
I would give myself 6 months, but I'd mask up hard.
Have you had any follow-up?
Yeah.
When you tested positive and then you were asymptomatic?
No.
You were not asymptomatic?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I told you on air, like I had a swollen gland that wouldn't go away, and I had like this throat thing and a head thing. I saw my doctor twice.
Okay.
But I never was like scary stuff. You know, like what you read about,
Yeah.
like Bill Plaschke. None of that stuff happened.
Yeah, Bill Plaschke of the LA Times. He wrote a column on, it hit him and hit him hard.
That was a devastating column.
Yeah. Yeah. Wear your mask. You want football this year? Wear your mask. Just let's see if we can pull this off. Not the mask. Let's see if we can pull off football. Wear a mask. Let's try it. All right? No politics, just common sense. Let's just try it. Because best case scenario, we have football. Worst case scenario, we won't. But at least we'll try. Wear a mask. That's all. Yes, McLovin.
How do you space out the stadium? Is there like printed blueprints on how you do this?
Yes.
So is that 6 feet? Does
Yeah.
that make you feel better?
I would be right now on the edge of going to a game. But I would want to know where we are in a month from now. And that seems like it's an eternity from now of where are we going to be and what's the process going to be? Are you able to sit with your family? How close are other fans to you? But I would lean towards maybe going if I knew the proximity of where this seating was and what is the game plan. Because it's not just get in and all of a sudden, you got a party that breaks out. And Paulie brings up a valid point. When you throw alcohol in here, now all of a sudden, like, who is policing this? And then when you leave the building, like, I just don't know. And there's going to be tailgating. And they're not going to be able to control the tailgating here. That would be my concern. I just don't know how they're going to enforce all of this. And if I knew that and felt secure with that, then yeah, probably. An open stadium. Yeah, McLovin.
By the way, like going to an NFL game in the best of times is not an easy experience necessarily. That 72-inch screen is very attractive.
Oh, they've made it so good that you don't need to go to a game, want to go to a game, because the experience is sometimes not worth it when all the stuff you have to put up with. Now you throw this in. I think just for curiosity's sake of going to a game that has a small crowd there and then you're socially distancing, like, what is that experience like? There's part of me that's curious about it, but there's nothing better than sitting on my couch, surround sound, beer in my hand, and I'm able to watch and don't have to worry about any lines or, people yelling stuff. Yeah, Paul.
I kind of hope, I know there's money involved, that there's no concessions. Like, they want to be cautious, and it's BYO. You could bring in like a 12-pack and a foot-long sub. little hot plate.
Can I bring in a mule? Like I just load up a mule and it just, I'll have it tested and I'll have my mule tested.
Roll in a cooler.
Yeah, just put a bunch of stuff on its back and just, clop, clop, clop. Let it, get some hay for it. Let it graze up there. Yes, McLevin.
No, it sounds like much more fun is going to an Army game with you. Like that seems like a more pleasant experience for some reason.
If we get that opportunity, I would love to go to a West Point game.
I think they have Air Force at home first Saturday of November. Saucy.
I saw them play Air Force 2 years ago up there. And that wasn't a good experience for West Point. Air Force is a little better. I remember going up there when Stanford played. And Army was holding its own. They were up 7-6 at the end of the first quarter. And if you said these are two college football teams, FBS college football teams, I wouldn't have believed you. Because when Stanford took the field, it was like there were grown men that came out there. Because those cadets, when they take the field, you're like, oh, okay. Stanford had tight ends that were bigger than anybody on Army's roster there. Stanford came out and I went, oh my God, I hope West Point doesn't get embarrassed there. But man, their style, their system is so good. When they went to Oklahoma and nearly beat Oklahoma, I think that went overtime. That was awesome. Loved it. But yeah, I'd love to go see a game at West Point. All right, we'll come back. I got to get to this play of the day. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a grand slam, 2 home runs last night, but it provided a little bit of drama. Let me get to Sam in Iowa, who is a Chiefs season ticket holder. Hi, Sam. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan, you were just talking, you weren't sure how the Chiefs were doing, and I just got the email yesterday. They're selling tickets in pods of 4, which is a default setting. You can request tickets for 2 if you want, but they're just selling for the first 3 games right now, just the Texans, the Patriots, and the Raiders, and it goes on to your seniority. So first come, first serve, I guess, for your seniority. But there is no transfer of the ticket either. Like I go to probably 3 or 4 games a year, and then I sell the rest. Well, that is strictly not allowed. So I think that might help in the ticket sales. Also, if you're not a season ticket member, I don't think you'll be able to get tickets this year.
But how are they going to do it, Sam, with a lottery? And are you going to be able to pick the game you want to go to?
Right, you can request that. Like they're selling the first 3 games right now, so you can request all 3 games if you want. But then it just goes by your tenure. So, like I've only been a season ticket holder for a couple of years, so obviously I'm way back in the line. So, but if you've been a season ticket holder for 30 years, obviously you're going to get your pick of whatever you want. So it goes by tenure.
Do you have any concerns about going to a game?
I am not going to a game.
Okay.
But I do have friends that I sell to, so I'm going to phone and just ask them if I'm able to purchase tickets for them. I'm not selling to a stranger, I'm selling to my friends, so I'll have to see what they say about that.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for the update. All right, we'll take a break. Play of the day is coming up next. We'll settle on our poll question. Peter King will talk about the Kansas City Chiefs in particular, their attendance and what they're expecting with their home games. And also, he was at the Buccaneers camp sat down with Tom Brady. So we'll spend some time with Peter King. Also, a little bit later on, Reggie Miller will join us to talk about what he saw yesterday and last night. And, of course, we get ready for the Lakers and the Blazers. We're back after this on the Dan Patrick Show.
Dan, yesterday you said on air that I'm no longer the meanest Danette. Now, while the brand took a hit there, I'm thinking about reversing, things, doing a 180, not a 360, a 180, and going, Paulie, positivity, positive Paulie, whatever I hate alliteration, but that's what the kids like to use. See,
Positive Paul.
positive Paulie.
Wow, Positive Paul showed up today.
Right,
That's that
so-
much sick.
Let's get right to it, Dan. Your Raptors had the kids do the introductions. Here's Kyle Lowry's kids. Then watch the smile on Kyle Lowry's face. Let's hit it. That is great.
So awesome.
That's a good idea. It worked great.
Lowry.
Yeah, man, he must have been so pumped.
His kids nailed it too. The back and forth. Whoever produced that, Mom must have produced it or something.
I think at the very end of the video, they jumped into each other.
Yeah.
The two little guys did.
Yeah.
So,
They nailed it.
yeah, Phoenix started it.
Awesome.
I hope it continues.
If it were my kids, they would have gotten into a fight somewhere between from Southern Illinois. No, I said I'm going to.
Yeah.
They would never. I was going first. I want to go last. There would be a fight in the middle of it on
The other
national
one out of the
TV.
way.
I wouldn't be able to find my kids.
Yeah.
Hey, anybody?
Yeah, the game's over already. Forget it.
Yeah.
Another time.
Fritz's kid, he's taking his kid to
He's going to Syracuse,
Syracuse tomorrow.
When? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
Fritz's taking him.
No.
Yeah. He's not driving.
No.
No. But yeah, just snuck up on me.
Are you gonna
Todd's-
wear that? No, I'm positive, Paulie. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
not gonna-
like you're trying so hard.
You're not gonna wear that to Syracuse, are you, tomorrow?
I'm going to wear a Syracuse hat and shirt. But I promised Jordan that I wouldn't wear a Syracuse dad shirt that I have to not embarrass him. So I have to find something Syracuse, but it doesn't say something.
He hasn't started there yet.
He hasn't. But it's kind of an unofficial start tomorrow. And then classes start Monday. But I digress.
You got a big rager planned tonight?
Whoa.
We're going to probably have a nice dinner. The in-laws are coming up
Yeah.
to keep an eye on the daughter. So we'll probably get some good grub and
The,
see the kid off.
There's a killer Applebee's in Syracuse.
Is there really?
It's the best. See,
good
you
to
know
know.
it.
One of the best, yeah.
It's one of the early Applebee's.
I'll have to make a note of that. No
Isn't
problem
there a
with Applebee's.
famous pancake place in Syracuse?
Maybe.
It's downstairs.
I'm up for that.
I think Guy Fieri
pancakes.
with Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives went there.
Syracuse.
There's a, I don't know if it's still open, but it's a famous
I'm
pancake
going to research
place.
that because I'm up for that.
I mentioned Kevin James. We were doing, and now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Yes, yes.
And I come in, as soon as I get there, Sandman goes, hey, let's go play basketball.
Right.
And then I could see that Kevin James had a sad look on his face because I had just taken you from him, from his arms.
He didn't know our history.
He did not.
It shook him up.
And he didn't play basketball.
He, by the way, when he goes on the basketball court and plays, it's dangerous.
Yeah, he looks like he could hurt you.
He goes after like loose balls and goes full tilt and knocks people over. He's too strong.
So we go play basketball, then we come back, and then we're going to do my scene. And it's a small scene where I'm a police officer. So right before we start, Kevin James, like there's a little bit of tension, friction, honestly. Like I could just tell that he was not pleased with me.
That's usually a Kevin James mood. He gets moody.
Okay.
That's nothing to do with
But
you.
I think that he was in competition for, Sandler's love with me.
Right.
And I already had Sandler's love, so I didn't need that.
Waterboy love.
Yes. And then he says, hey, why don't you can you do a Brooklyn accent? Like a total, it wasn't, that was kind of a jerky move.
I think he might have come across that way, but
Okay.
he was trying to bring you to a place you haven't been before.
No, let's don't do that. Because he could have told me that prior to.
Kevin James is a fine human being who, in his own way, was pulled out of that performance out of you. Did you see how good you were in the movie?
Yeah, I didn't do a Brooklyn accent.
Yes, but he made sure you didn't in his own way because you weren't ready for that.
I was not ready for that. And then I think he wanted to embarrass me by saying, it'd be better if you did like a Brooklyn accent. And then I went, and then I looked at you like, really?
No.
Okay,
he did not
that's
mean
how it
anything.
happened.
No.
That's how it happened.
my God.
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're going to play it and play it.
This is the play of the day. Check this out.
This is in the air to right field. Back it goes. Nando has done it again. Fernando Tatis Jr., a grand slam. And the Padres go on top 14-3. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs for Fernando Tatis Jr.
That's courtesy of Fox Sports San Diego. Tatis on a 3-0 count. Hits a home run, hits a grand slam, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. He leads the majors with 11 home runs. Play of the day is brought to you by these wireless earbuds from Raycon. Raycon.com/Patrick. Get 15% off the wireless earbuds. The way to go. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Here is the Rangers manager, Chris Woodward. He didn't like that Tatis was swinging on a 3-0 count where they're up by 10 runs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of unwritten rules that are, constantly being challenged, I think, in today's game. So, I didn't like it personally. When you're up by 7 in the 8th inning, it's typically not a good time to swing 3-0. That's kind of, the way we were all kind of raised in the game. But, like I said, the norms are being challenged on a daily basis. So just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not right. But I don't think we liked it as a group.
Okay, you were raised that way in baseball. That's the Rangers manager. Here's Jace Tingler, the Padres manager.
It probably starts with just, picking up the sign. I think like the learning opportunity. And just so you know, a lot of our guys have green light, 3-0. But, in this game in particular, we had a little bit of a comfortable lead. And, we're not trying to, run up the score or anything like that. And so, put on the take sign and probably see a strike right there.
Now, Jace Tingler has a point. He told Tatis to take the pitch. Now, that's a different topic because that's player and manager. The other part of this is the unwritten rule. And to his credit, Tatis apologized for swinging at a 3-0 pitch.
I've been in this game since I was a kid, man, and I know a lot of unwritten rules. And but this time I didn't. I was kind of lost on this one. I was, they told me after 5, 7, after 6, or something like that. And from those experiences, you gotta learn from it. Probably next time I'll take a pitch. Now that I know from it, and we just gotta learn from it and keep looking forward.
Okay, should we have a mercy rule? Like that'll protect everybody's feelings here. Hey, you're up 10. It's late in the game. This isn't the last inning where you're up by 10 and you're swinging for the downs. Now, what happens if you continue to play in the Rangers? If the Padres can put up 10, I'm going to guess the Rangers might be able to put up 10. And then what happens if the Rangers come back? Now I'm allowed to? Do the Rangers promise not to beat you if they come back? Hey, we can't score 7. That wouldn't be fair. But
Dan, you played baseball. I didn't play baseball. Do you think there's a big difference between let's say there was a man at second base and you're up a bunch of runs and you steal a base? That's like maybe above and beyond what's necessary. He was just completing his at bat. Tatis.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Tatis. I have a problem if he disobeys his manager, but I don't have a problem if he's swinging. I don't. If you're going to stop trying, the Rangers, if you stop trying, then you're asking the Padres to stop trying. Like, hey, don't be swinging for a home run. So can I hit a triple? Can I hit a double? Can I swing on 3-1 but not 3-0? Because I'm not sure what the magic number is, whether it's the count or how many runs we're ahead. If I'm up 6, I'm allowed to swing. 7, am I allowed to swing? Maybe not. 8? Ooh, no. Yeah, see.
The thing that stinks about playing baseball and being on, if you're just getting shelled, right, and it's a 8-run inning, you're like, damn, man, there's no clock counting down to get you out of that. You just have to get the outs, and sometimes it's impossible to find them. So that's the only slight thing I can say is damn, dude, all right, you guys are killing us. Can't we just go home? Can't we just stop doing
Then
this
have
already?
a mercy rule.
You know, right? I mean, maybe there needs to be a mercy rule then if this is what people are going to be upset about. Is somebody?
Why don't you just say to the pitcher, just take a knee? If you just take a knee and then we'll go, okay, we're all done here. I mean, baseball's trying to speed up these games. So just say, all right, we give up. We're down 10 in the 8th inning. We're going to take a knee. Yes, Tom?
Imagine if the manager threw in a towel like you do in boxing. If you think you're a boxer that's had enough, you can call it. You don't have to wait for all the rounds to end. Just imagine what kind of grief a manager or coach would take if you could throw a towel in to stop the game.
Well, you can get ahead in match play in golf by a certain number of holes where you go, okay, we're done after 15 holes. I closed you out here. But this mercy rule and unwritten rule and, yeah, McLovin.
But you aren't supposed to steal a base. So there are some things that are established.
But that is different. If I'm at the plate with a bat in my hand, am I just supposed to not swing? If you steal a base, I understand where you could be a little frosty with that. But I'm at the plate. What am I supposed to do? Strike out? To make you feel better? Yes,
Right. We have too many runs. Time for an intentional strikeout.
Yeah.
Just to help the other team.
Hey, we can't get you out.
Or swing the bat, but not too well.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Try to hit it to somebody. Yeah, Paul.
Dan, I've been in the position in sports where I've had mercy taken on me because I stink. I could talk about this. It's way worse than getting beat by 40. I lost a wrestling match once, like 18-0, which in wrestling is that might be a national record. But you know what? I didn't get pinned, and the guy kept trying, and I didn't feel that bad about it. But I didn't quit, and They didn't say, "Well, you're down 18. We're going to stop this match." That would have been embarrassing.
And whenever I've played a game and you're getting roughed up, like the last thing I want you to do is take mercy on me. I would rather that you just kill me. Just finish the game. Dominate. Then I have to get better. It's not on you to feel sorry for me. It's like there should be a mercy rule with Bob Costas winning sports Emmys.
Wow.
Right? But I don't want Bob to quit, and I want to beat him when I'm in his category. Right now, the score is, I think, 28-2. But there's no mercy rule in sports Emmys. I'm going to get Costas one of these days. Yes, McLovin.
Don't NBA guys fight all the time about that layup at the end of the game?
Well, I saw this last night.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet did that with the Raptors game. They were up by 30. And then I saw that with Jaylen Brown in the 76ers game. Right at the very end, they could have scored a layup. They did not. Okay. But in the course of a game, then I want you to continue. Pile it on. Not, come on, that's poor sportsmanship. We're not talking T-ball or Little League. We're talking about grown men. Get him out. Don't throw him a meatball up there on 3-0. Yes, McLovin.
I just Googled that. Players who hit shots at the end of an NBA game and got in a fight. Like 4 Lance Stevenson clips came up. He started like 4 brawls. He's like doing a 360 windmill with up 40 with 1 second left.
I have a problem with that. Or you're trying to get your triple-double where you purposely miss a shot. Yes,
Yeah, I don't like the guy going for the steal at the end of the game when you're down 30 and there's 5 seconds left. Dude, stop.
Well, didn't we have that with the Kansas State kid earlier this year? Was that last year? And then there was a fight, bench clear. Yes, McLovin.
But if you're a bench warmer or you need to pad your stats, I mean, if you were Jaylen Brown last night, would you have dribbled that out? Or would you have hit the layup?
No,
Yeah.
I would have scored. I would have gone in for the layup. I got to pad my stats, man. Pad my stats. Lay in. It didn't hurt any. I wouldn't dunk, but I would lay it in. Like a nice, crisp, off the backboard layup. Something like that. I might even go in left-handed, just a little bit. All right, Peter King will join us coming up. His thoughts on the Buccaneers. Are we overrating the Buccaneers? Could we possibly be underrating the Buccaneers? And what's he make of the Kansas City Chiefs saying there'll be fans in the stands? And then Reggie Miller will stop by final hour. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. But But I wonder about that. You bring up a great point. I never thought of that with you, that, you grew up in a style in college where, wasn't predicated on, like your read might have been the defensive end, whether you pitch it or not. Now
Absolutely.
And now you got these kids who they're reading everything. They're doing pro style in high school. They got their iPad, like all of that. Would you, like today's game, would you have put in the time studying that, or was there still part of you that said, I like to almost feel my way through a game?
No, that's a great question, Dan. And what made, I think the people who played with me, especially those who played with me over a period of time and got to know me well. And I know the coaches I had a lot of coaches, either quarterback coaches, OCs, and even head coaches. I think they would all say that maybe this surprises people, maybe it doesn't. But I was a student of the game. I really, especially as I got into the second half of my career. Playing 20 years is a long time. So there's a lot of phases throughout that 20 years. But I really wanted to be better mentally at the game and learn things that I had never been exposed to. When I left high school, I didn't even know what shotgun was. It was read option, and if it was a pass, it usually was a broken play on a run play, and the referees they couldn't tell the linemen if the linemen were downfield or if the linemen were receivers. They didn't know. So it was just backyard football, and in college, you're right. It was reading the defensive end, and what passes we threw were sprint out, and there was never any protection issues. But I didn't do shotgun until 2002, and so that was 10 years into my pro career. So,
wow.
When I coached high school several years ago, everyone said, I bet those kids had a hard time adjusting to you. And I said, totally the opposite. I kept the same offense that they had run previous, which was this no huddle, at the line of scrimmage deal. That was new to me. And so I really had to, if we knelt on the ball, Dan, we knelt on it through shotgun. I could not believe it.
Wow.
But it's a different game. It's a different era. But I tried to soak up in my later years as much as I could and learn as much as I could. Like Tom Brady, I think he's a master at a lot of things, but protection issues, he makes it look so easy in deciphering that. And I want to know more about that and how guys do it, how they were trained. I consider myself a student of the game, even though I was a quote unquote a gunslinger.
We just put up the picture of you on draft day with your jean shorts on.
Hey, and by the way, Baker Mayfield, that was classic, man. The trouble he went through to make that is lifelike, or it was amazing. I got a big chuckle out of that. I give him a lot of credit.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Keep this in mind.
The #1 seed amongst all sports talk hosts.
This is all or nothing for the Rockets. That ship has sailed.
Impossible to upset.
Don't touch anything over here, okay?
Okay, possible to upset, but very difficult usually.
The Lakers worked really hard to get that #1 seed in the Western Conference, and their reward was the 8th seed Portland Trailblazers. Bring in Chris Mannix, who joins us from the bubble.
Blazers, they don't defend anybody, and they haven't really defended anybody, but I'm far less bullish on Portland's chances to upset the Lakers now. The McCollum injury bothers me. Who defends LeBron?
Nobody does.
I don't know how they pull that off.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program, already in progress. It's hour 2 on this Tuesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Talked about the NBA yesterday and last night. I didn't think Porzingis should have been tossed from that game. You know, Morris is a guy who's brought in to be an agitator for the Clippers, and he did exactly what he is paid to do. Because he grabs Luka Doncic and kind of spins him around a little bit. Because the book on Luka is, and all European players is, put a body on him, rough them up, see how tough they are. Well, Luka's a grown man. And he just turned around and said, you know, what are you doing here? And then Porzingis came in, and then he eventually got tossed. But Morris did this to Porzingis. He never got teed up for anything. So if you want to throw out Porzingis, throw out Morris as well. Now, the Clippers would gladly take that exchange, but that was wrong because they allowed the agitator to get away with it. And Porzingis has got to be smarter than that because you know exactly what Morris is trying to do. And this is what he's done in every stop of his NBA career. But you got games coming up tonight. Of course, the headliner will be the Lakers and the Blazers. We'll talk to Reggie Miller next hour. Magic Bucks lead us off in the afternoon. Heat Pacers and Thunder Rockets, I think, is surprisingly spicy. Nuggets in overtime, and Raptors blow out the Nets. Celtics get by the Sixers, and then the Clippers with the win against the Mavs. I was watching Kawhi Leonard last night, and I couldn't help but think of jazz. You know, there's certain players, if you attached music to them, what would the soundtrack of their playing career be like? Now, there's certain players who play and they're aggressive or stylistic, powerful. And I couldn't help but just think of Miles Davis when I'm watching Kawhi Leonard. It was just a kind of an effortless floating. You know, there's no violent moves. There's no abrupt moves. It doesn't feel like he's ever put in a position where he's not comfortable. There's just something about him, the way he plays. He doesn't say much, very quiet. So cool jazz is what I think of when I'm watching Kawhi Leonard out there. And not that he went through the motions last night, but it felt like the team is sort of trying to figure out who they are. And they have to do it in real time because they haven't been able to be fully assembled. Dallas is still going to be a tough out because Porzingis and Luka have a chance to put up, 75, 80 points between them. And that's probably what's going to be required here. But this is a team that scores better than anybody in the NBA. And last night, the Clippers got away with one. Because if Porzingis doesn't get tossed, I think the Mavericks win that game. And this is really what you have to be aware of if you're the Lakers. The Blazers are coming in, and they are ready to go. Now, they might be spent, but they're going to be on adrenaline. Might be fumes, but they're going to be on adrenaline. And the Lakers can't – it's hard to get up to that level. That's why sometimes you'll see a wild card team in the NFL – they do damage because they've been playing in playoff mode for a couple of weeks just to get in there. And that team that rests and has a first-round bye, they have to ratchet it up again. And that'll be a challenge for the Lakers coming up tonight. Can you match the intensity of the Blazers? Because this is a Laker team that gets down early. And you're not going to be able to do that with a team like Portland with as much offense as they have. All right, 877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. Once again, a tutorial, I believe, is up now on the website. telling you how you can go from youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show to Peacock on Monday. It's really simple. 30 seconds, and you'll be able to find Peacock. You have your email, your password, and then you're in. And then you'll be able to watch the show on Monday. It will be that the official transfer of YouTube. And by the way, everybody who has watched on YouTube, thank you. And I hope you join us on Peacock. Very, very proud of this partnership there. McLovin, you got a poll question for me.
Yeah, I put up, would you attend an NFL game? 65% said no.
Okay. And if you're looking at that, you're probably saying we want to appeal to the 35% who will or less, because that's what you're going to have. The max capacity is going to be probably 30% of your stadium. But we'll talk to Peter King about that coming up in a little bit. We'll get some phone calls here as well. We talked about what happened with the Padres game against the Rangers last night. Padres are up by 10, 8th inning, and Fernando Tatis Jr. III gets up on a 3-0 pitch and goes yard for a grand slam. So they're up 10-3 in the 8th inning, 3-0 pitch. Now, I only have a problem that he disobeyed his manager, who gave him the take sign on a 3-0. Swinging on a 3-0 pitch with the bases loaded, how about we put a little blame on the pitcher? If you don't want him to be swinging for a home run or maybe give up a grand slam, then walk him. All right, bases loaded, walk him. If you're that nervous, hey, I'll give up one run. I don't want to give up a grand slam here. Like 3-0 pitch, he's swinging. What? So Fernando Tatis Jr. is supposed to stop playing because you weren't any good last night. And we have mercy rules in softball or Little League, not Major League Baseball. And when can you swing and when can you not swing? Like, that's what I want to know. Maybe there's an unwritten rule that says if you're up by double digits in the 8th inning, then you can't swing on a 3-0 pitch. Or what if we're up by 6 and it's a 3-0 pitch and bases are loaded? I'm allowed to do that, right? I got to put a little bit of the onus on and the blame on the Rangers. Like, if you don't want to play and you want a mercy rule, then just take a knee. Now, when you come to the plate, are you still swinging? Are you running hard? And the answer is yes. We've seen teams come back in today's game where it's all about hitting home runs. Swing. But if your manager says take, that's different, because now you're disobeying your manager. But as far as swinging, man, I want you to beat me with your best and hopefully my best. I mean, that's what competing is all about. A mercy rule? Like, imagine if you're fighting Mike Tyson and all of a sudden you go, Mike, you're hitting too hard. Come on. Stop. Mercy rule. Hey, stop. You hit a grand slam. Okay, big deal. You're a grown-ass man. You get paid to get people out. Yeah, Paul.
I kind of want to know that scale you're talking about. Is being up 7 runs in the 8th like being up 10 runs in the 5th? What's the you guys got to stop hitting balls sliding scale?
By the way, I saw this story yesterday. And I don't want to be upset because I said when sports comes back, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to do my best. I'll be a fan. I'll try to be a host. And I saw this story and I went, golly. Some guys have all the luck. Some guys got it all. They have the beautiful wife and they have the beautiful kids, really successful. And I know that sounds like me, but I'm talking about Ryan Reynolds, the actor. He started a gin company. It's called Aviation Gin. So he buys into it. I think he only spent $3 million of his own money. Now, at the time, you might go, well, that's a lot of money. Maybe it was less than that. So Ryan Reynolds got everything in life, right? He sold that liquor line to Diageo for $610 million.
Excuse me?
Yes, $610 million. George Clooney, when he sold his Casamigos tequila, that was for $1 billion. That's mean-spirited. Yes, Paul.
The George Clooney one may make you feel even worse because George Clooney put in less than $2 million of his own money and should walk with about $300 million, which is more than he made his entire acting career.
But is he happy, Paul? That's what I want to know.
His boat is nice.
Yeah. Well, he has a villa in Italy on Lake Como. Yes, McLovin.
Well, you didn't talk about taxes, though.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Remember when Phil Mickelson said that? Like he wanted to quit playing because he made $48 million on and off the course. And then he was like, yeah, but they're going to take away half of it. Like, okay, so you're angry they're going to take away half of it. You'd rather not do any of it. I'd rather still have $24 million than, oh, they're taking away. Then I don't have anything there. Yeah, Paul.
But it's interesting when Ryan Reynolds joined that aviation company, he made them relevant really quick. He started doing posts. Remember the Peloton thing?
Yes.
And he did the interview, and the gin company jumped in on that. He's a very smart guy. He added the value.
I remember when we had him on the set when we were in San Francisco at the Super Bowl. I'd never met him. And we were like, do we want to have Ryan Reynolds on? Because he was doing the movie at the time, Deadpool. And I'd heard great things about it. And I'd heard he had a great personality. And I thought, all right, well, let's bring him in. And that's one of those guests that comes in and realizes maybe he can't keep up with us sports-wise, but he guided the interview. So he knew how to entertain. And I just remember that. Like if I saw him, and I don't know him, I would walk right up to him and just say, hey, Dan Patrick, you were on my show in San Francisco and you were wonderful and just wanted to say hello. I mean, he's that kind of guy that I would feel like you just walk up and say hello to him. Very bright, very funny, and that was a great interview. And because of him, yes, he.
So, in summation, if you see Ryan Reynolds today, Dan, you're advising everyone to just go up to him and say hello.
Yes.
Today would be the perfect day to do. Hey, Dan said go up, say hello, because you're such a nice guy.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be great.
I'm encouraging that. Everybody, if you see Ryan Reynolds
Just
today,
right now.
I'm guessing he's in a pretty good mood.
Yeah.
Just had another baby. And married to Blake Lively, and he just cashed something for $600 million.
Dang.
Yeah. But I always follow that up. You know, when somebody goes, oh, do you see who somebody married? Or they made this? And I always go, but are they happy? And you're not quite sure, right? Are they happy? Yes, Paulie.
Maybe we should start our own spirits line. I think that's a lesson
I
here.
tried to do this.
Let's
Remember
do it.
the literary spirits?
Yes.
And I just didn't hear from anybody. I thought having Tequila Mockingbird, first of all, and then we had like 5 or 6 of them. Didn't we? Didn't we come up with all these 5 or 6 different spirits, depending on if it was, let's see, rum, gin.
Catcher in the Rye, remember?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we did that. Yeah.
See, just went,
Right.
What were some of the other ones?
Maybe we should not do
I just come up with
Remember, well, you had Bible Belt. That was a good one.
Yeah, I wanted to come up with belts, and they would have a Bible verse on it, and then you would call it Bible Belt, and then, or you could change out your buckle, and it would have like Corinthians on it or something like that.
Watchdog.
Watchdog. I thought you could have a watch, and you could have your dog on it, and it would be called Watchdog.
The watch with the dog on it.
Yeah.
Watchdog.
These ideas, I should be on Shark Tank. Actually, I only have the idea. I don't have anything other than that. I need the infrastructure here.
Watchdog.
Yeah. Bible belts. Tequila Mockingbird. What were some of the other liquors that we came up with? Do you guys listen to me? Is this on? Do you listen to me? Todd.
I can't remember the names we came up with. We should have jotted it down. I usually write down like every single thing.
Well, maybe somebody wrote it down. We need a court stenographer here. Yes, McLovin.
I'm looking at the list of the greatest novels and nothing is coming to mind, which probably explains why we're all not billionaires right now.
Well, they don't have to.
Was there a Great Gatsby playoff? That sounds familiar. Great Gatsby, I don't.
No, these were kind of obvious, but at least I thought they were. Maybe not. All right. Some people want to talk about the unwritten rules of baseball. Jamie in North Carolina. Hi, Jamie. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan. 6'4", about 208. Just want to say, love the show. Love you guys.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Jamie.
being here always. You guys are the best. I just love you. And baseball, grown man's game, major leagues. Play the game till it's over, or you have the manager walk out on the other team who's losing, and he has to take his shirt off and throw it into the field as a white flag.
Yeah, I want you to play. I would never want somebody to have mercy on me. Jamie, thank you. Anytime I played against somebody, and if they were better than me, man, it's part of getting better. And there's nothing wrong with being humbled. We're worried about these guys who are 25, 27, 30 years of age, and they're going to be embarrassed out there. You know what's embarrassing? When you give up those kind of home runs, when you throw a ball right down the middle of the plate.
Huckleberry Gin, Dan.
There you go. That was one of them?
That was one of them.
Yes. See? Here it comes. Let it flow.
And then the bar you own when you serve food there, Lord of the Wings. It could be
I like that.
on the menu.
Okay.
Rolling.
Yep. Here we go. Here we go. Where's Ryan Reynolds when I need him? Get a hold of Mark Cuban. Tell him to tune in. See if we can come up with a deal here. Let me see. How about Jacob in Virginia? Hey, Jake, what do you have for me today?
Hey, what's going on, DP?
Hey.
I got 6'1", a post dad bod, a 4-month dad bod of 160.
All right.
I was just growing up, kind of the generation when the unwritten rules started to change, and the difference between someone like Chris Woodward, which I believe played a little bit, and Fernando Tatis Jr. is that, when you're growing up through high school, you're playing all these club teams, and, sometimes you got to swing on a 3-0 pitch in the 8th inning to, make a scout change or look your way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, but this is the major leagues, and thank you, Jacob. I don't. These unwritten rules, this is old school stuff. The fact that somebody hits a home run and then you hit the next guy because why? Because you're not any good? Now I'm going to punish that guy because why? You couldn't get that guy out? Or the pitcher who throws at a hitter knowing he doesn't have to go to the plate? I got a real problem with that. So if we're going to rewrite the unwritten rules of baseball, there's a few other ones I'd like to throw in there as well. Phil in Indiana. Hi, Phil. What do you have for me?
Hey, Dan, always a pleasure. Played college baseball real quick. I remember hitting one into a gap. We were up 14-2, and I stretched a double into a triple and got to third base, and the opposing coach was yelling at me for doing it. And I'm like, this is what you're taught early on, but you just touched on it. 90% of these unwritten rules were written back in the early 1900s. I mean, I just think it's time to get rid of a lot of these. Are unnecessary.
All right. Well, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're a professional. If you celebrate, then that's a little bit different. But, if you're going up there and it's a 3-0 pitch and you're up by 10, then you're not supposed to swing at that. Now, what about the 3-1 pitch? Are you allowed to swing at the 3-1? Because I'm guessing that you can't swing at the 3-1. And then you get to 3-2, and then you strike out. Because why? Because I have to feel sorry for you. Yes, Steve.
I like that. I forget who the soundbite was that we played, but the guy's like, these are the rules we were all raised in. It's just the right way to play the game, and we all respect the game, and this is how we were all raised. As if Fernando Tatis Jr. wasn't raised in baseball somehow. Like you say.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So somehow that, him being raised, that rule didn't get down to him.
Because his dad played in the majors.
Right, because his dad might know something about the rules of the game.
Yeah. Brett in Florida joins us on the program. Hi, Brett. What do you have for me? Then we'll take a break. Peter King is set to join us. Hey, Brett.
Hey, DP. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, so I need some help from you and the Danette. So my wife and I, we found out that we are pregnant with our first, due in November. So very, very exciting news. But lo and behold, the due date, Saturday of the Masters. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And normally in November, I'd be already either loving or hating the University of Florida loss or win against Georgia. But I've got a whole new animal now. So I know you guys all have families, may have run into this, so just looking for some help.
All right, I'm going to defer to Paulie on this.
Yeah, you got to think about the par 3 contest as well. So I would induce on Monday so you can get set up for the par 3 contest, and then, of course, the Masters Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Because that's a tradition unlike any other. Yeah. That might be a little bit tough there. How many times did you guys, right to your due date? How many of your wives delivered right on their due date? Paulie, yours?
Mine was on or after by a few days. On or after. Just by a couple days.
Seton?
After.
McLovin?
Both after.
Todd?
Yeah, about a week and a half after.
Yeah, I think the first one is always later. At least I think it was for us. Yes, Seton.
I do love the idea though that hey honey, I think I've had labor periods. Yeah, but the Masters is on.
Yeah.
Oh hey, I think we should go to the hot. Yep, the Masters is on though.
Oh boy. Brett has no idea what's coming his way.
No clue.
No idea.
Oh honey, but the Masters is on.
Once all of a sudden it's go time. Brett's gonna get a. Good luck, Brett. We're all counting on you. Yeah, Paulie.
You got to look at the bright side, though. If the baby comes on a Monday or Tuesday, he could spend the entire Masters on the couch with the baby, taking care of it and looking like the dad of the year right off the bat when he's focused on the Masters.
A tradition unlike any other. Peter King will join us, get his thoughts on what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing with their attendance and how's morale with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll talk to Peter King. He'll join us next, 21 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. Well, sports are back. That means there's even more reason to get a Traeger grill. And what's great, well, there's so many great things about the Traeger grill. Let's say you are watching something on TV. Let's say you were watching Donovan Mitchell put up 57 yesterday. And you have the Traeger on. You can be watching the game and still monitor what's on the Traeger grill because they have Wi-Fi technology. So you can control your grill. You can raise the temperature. You can monitor what you're cooking straight from your smartphone. And let's say you want to grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, barbecue. You can do it all. 6-in-1 versatility with the Traeger. I think we're doing French dip on Wednesday. Italian beef, I think, is what we're doing. Alan is going to do the honors there. That's tomorrow we're doing that. You can... And one of the things that really stands out is the 100% hardwood fuel. So it's not gas, it's not charcoal. You get that wood flavor that's there with every meal. TraegerGrills.com/DP show. Good luck. What was the best conversation you ever had in the huddle with the receiver who came back and said, I'm open?
Man, Chad Ochocinco would always tell me he was open. I mean, he was open a lot, but he thought he saw the game a little bit different than I did from my perspective. He was always wide open. But, you know, from the conversations he and I had in the huddle to the conversations Larry Fitzgerald and I didn't have in the huddle about how open he wasn't, you know, Larry never begged for the ball. He never asked for it. He knew that the offense would come through him and to him at some point. But the conversations with Chad, just everyone, he's just shut up, Chad. Shut up. Shut up. I'm trying to hear the play come through the speakers in my helmet. Just shut up. But yeah, Chad was always open in his world.
Ever see Larry Fitzgerald mad?
I don't think I have. I mean, other than I've seen him disappointed from all the times I whooped him on the golf course and he had to pull out his wallet and pay me.
Wow.
But that wasn't mad or frustration. That was just disappointment because he talks a pretty good game on the golf course.
Oh. What are you doing out here?
Nothing.
What are you doing in here? No, I don't like this.
Why not?
Because that's how people get their eye poked out. That's how somebody gets hurt.
What are you talking about? This is like a ready-made, like as a kid you would have died for this.
Oh, I know. But you fire right at Todd.
Oh, I know what happens there.
I wouldn't stand there, Paul. Oh, wait. Weeks, turn this way.
Uh-oh. I know it's coming up.
Dang, that's got some heat.
That does. Good job.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I am so sorry. That was a total accident.
Wait, did you just steal the
Oh.
6 inches away from. At least he's down there.
Todd's car's running outside. He's ready to go.
What's going on?
No. I think Todd deserves a shot back of this. Todd.
Why is this so much fun?
Moving target.
Oh.
He got that.
Ready, Sid?
Pretty good shot.
Seton?
Yeah, this whole thing.
Yeah. Seton's a pretty good shot.
I haven't hit him once.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I'm a terrible.
Oh, the last time you did it, you were unbelievable.
I still have a little bruise on my arm. A little spot.
I think he could pick out a letter and I could hit Todd in the letter.
Ooh.
Here.
Okay.
I know you don't like
Is it ready to
crossbows,
go?
Paulie. I know you don't like crossbows.
If you haven't submitted your podcast idea, hurry up. You have until the end of the month. This contest that I came up with, and I thought during the pandemic, just to give you something to think about, or if somebody gets a chance to have their idea heard, and that's all you want when it comes to a podcast. And we have over 400 entries so far with 2 more weeks to go. Great ideas, wonderful ideas for a podcast. Nextgreatpodcast.com. Go there. All the details are there. And all it is basically a pitch, an idea of what you want to do with your podcast. We're going to pick out 10 semifinalists, and then we're going to help produce those podcasts. And then everybody in America who listens on iHeartRadio is going to vote on this. And then the winner, I'll go into business with them. We will do a podcast for 1 year, at least 1 year. Let's bring in Peter King joining us on loan. Peter in Nashville today at the Titans camp. Of course, Monday Football Morning in America, NBCSports.com, NFL column that is a must-read. Peter, the Chiefs have announced that they expect around 16,000 fans in attendance for the NFL opener. How do you think the teams like the Chiefs are going to decide who gets to go to those games?
I don't know. That's a good one. And especially, let's say if the Steelers and I don't know what will end up happening with the Steelers, but a team like that, and the Chiefs really, can you imagine if you absolutely live and breathe for the Chiefs and there's I guess there would be some lottery system. I don't even know. But and you don't get to go to the first game after they've won a Super Bowl. You don't get to tailgate. You don't, do all this stuff. But I just think, we have to get used to things being unfair this year.
How many camps have you visited so far?
Not many. I've only seen Tampa, Atlanta, and the Titans, and I'm going the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, to Kansas City.
What was the atmosphere like in Tampa?
Dan, as I wrote my column yesterday, I wrote a long thing about Brady and his adjustment, and I talked to him. There's 2 things that really stick out. Saints in a month with Sean Payton and Drew Brees, who complete each other's sentences. They know each other so well. And here he is, on August 14th, huddling for the first time with his offense. And it's so weird. But, there was this audible kind of rustling in the air and a couple of whoops and a few shouts, like when they were about, the defense was lining up, and it was almost as if they were saying, man, we're playing Tom Brady today, and isn't that cool? I mean, even though it was 100-degree heat index, and I have no idea how anybody can do anything outside in weather like that. But I thought Brady looked good. By my unofficial count, 28 out of 37, 3 touchdowns. But again, nobody's touching him. And his arm, I thought, looked very strong. And, I've been telling people, if you got a fantasy team this year, take O.J. Howard, because Tom Brady has taken O.J. Howard basically under his wing and trying to fix what ails him. And that was a cool thing to see.
What about Brady's demeanor there? You got a chance to talk to him.
Really happy.
It almost seems playful. I don't know. It's
he's Dan. My videographer Annie Koblitz, who's with me on the trip, and there's a piece of video inside my column that you really should watch, and because it says a lot. She did a great job capturing sort of the essence of Brady and how he's almost kind of turned into a coach a little bit. But what was really interesting in watching some of the video that she shot, she said to me, we were sitting there, it was Thursday night, we're watching a bunch of the video, and she said, this guy loves football, and you could just tell. It's, he wouldn't care if it was he didn't care it was 100 degrees. He's out there having a ball, and you can tell just by watching him practice, Dan. This is why Tom Brady is playing at age 43. He loves a dog day August afternoon practice, August morning practice. And you can just see it in all his body language and the way he practices.
He's Peter King joining us from Nashville, NBCSports.com, NFL columnist, and his column is must-read on every Monday morning, is Football Morning in America. What do you make of Alex Smith being cleared to come off the physically unable to perform list?
Look, I said this the other day in my column that, okay, so Brady is the best story of this year, individual best story. What will happen? The great mystery. If Alex Smith takes the field for Washington this year, that's number 2. And it might not be number 2. It might be number 1. I thought that Stefania Bell at ESPN did a fantastic E6, I think it was E60 or 30 for 30, whatever they call those things. But it was fantastic, because it showed that Alex Smith, if Alex Smith had a different doctor, they might have amputated his leg. Yeah. That wasn't just, hey, my leg almost got amputated. No, his leg really almost got amputated. And I was in awe of, first of all, I thought that was one of the best pieces of journalism I've seen in a long time. But I was in awe of Alex Smith after watching that. Just his demeanor. He's going to make it. He's going to conquer this. Now, I have no idea if he'll be able to play. Nobody knows really yet, but I don't know how you don't watch that story over the last 2 years and aren't rooting to your last breath for Alex Smith.
Yeah, I was hoping that worst case scenarios, he gets a ceremonial snap where he can go out and maybe take a knee just to go out on the field one more time. The hard part is, you're going to have to put him on the roster put him out there, because we have no preseason games. But it's a very emotional. I had a hard time getting through it the first time. I had to stop it and then come back, because it's very graphic. In fact,
what's incredible is that you see his leg. It's exposed. You can see down to the bone. You see the blackness in there, and it's incredibly graphic and grotesque. But it just shows you what an incredible story this is to come back from that.
Cam Newton's status with the Patriots. When do you think that starts to emerge, if he's going to be first, second, third string quarterback?
The cool thing for Bill Belichick is he cannot tell anybody until, say, the Wednesday before the regular season starts. Because usually, Dan, you know how coaches say, I want my starter by the third preseason game because I want him playing for 2.5 quarters in that game. Yeah. You don't have that this year. Now, most teams, I think, Dan, are going to have something like, the colleges do. At Penn State, they have a blue and white scrimmage or whatever, however whatever they call those things. Bill O'Brien told me in Houston, they're probably going to have one. Bruce Arians said he's probably going to have one or two of them. So I think it's likely that, Bill Belichick is not going to want Cam Newton inside his stadium running the offense and doing everything for the first time September 13th against the Miami Dolphins. He's going to want to have a couple of trial runs, I would think. So, but I think Belichick is going to keep a lid on it until probably the week before the season. That would be my guess.
Are you going to Cowboys camp?
No. Dan, the weird thing is I live in New York, and so when I come home after going to Kansas City, I've got to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I can't really go anywhere else other than maybe locally, maybe the Giants and Jets. I'm not sure exactly what the quarantine rules are, but I can't travel after that. The Cowboys will be tremendously interesting. You got a feel for what happened to them yesterday with Gerald McCoy, who is just an absolute very, very good human being, and he was going to be a key player for them. And, man, that's one of the problems. You never know. Jalen Hurd got hurt with the 49ers.
Yeah.
He was going to be a huge, huge factor for them, and now he's out. So, I don't know. That's the unfortunate part of training camp. Guys get hurt.
Who do you think has more pressure on them in Dallas, Dak Prescott or Mike McCarthy?
McCarthy will have a honeymoon year. He's not going anywhere. So you'd have to say Prescott, because clearly Prescott, in order to justify the Cowboys paying him more than they ever wanted to pay him in a long-term contract, especially in these economic times, I think he's going to have to be a top 5-6 quarterback in the league this year for them to really bite the bullet and pay him.
Dez Bryant, the Ravens kicking the tires on Dez Bryant?
Yeah, I just saw that last night. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing about Eric DeCosta, who's the Ravens GM, people don't know him. Everybody knew and really respected Ozzie Newsome. Eric DeCosta is one of these guys who is going to try anything, and he doesn't care. Now, he was also looking very hard at Antonio Brown, who I happen to think, my guess is he's going to Seattle at some point. We'll see. But it's just a guess, an educated guess. But Eric DeCosta, I think, logically is going to do whatever he can to find a good third, fourth, fifth receiver on that roster right now. And he's looking hard.
Good to visit with you, Pete. Safe travels as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Dan. Have a great day.
That's Peter King joining us from Nashville, covering the Titans today on the road. Yeah, some interesting tidbits in there. And much was made of Bruce Arians saying that, yes, he cusses out Tom Brady just like he cusses out everybody else. And then somebody said to Brady about that, and he goes, yeah, I'm used to it. So I'm going to guess. Rodney Harrison would always tell me about how Belichick treated Brady in practice. And that is, he treated him like everybody else. There was no preferential treatment there. And, he would get on Tom if he threw a bad pass. But when you think about it, you want that. As a competitor and you want to be great, I know your feelings may get hurt. Now, Bill Parcells used to yell at Phil Simms, the Giants quarterback, whenever Lawrence Taylor did something wrong. So Phil Simms would go, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't stay out past curfew. And somehow Bill Parcells would yell at him instead of yelling at Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, Paul.
There's a great old story. I think it may have been on the Dream Team or maybe before. Bob Knight tells a story. He was coaching the 84 Olympic team, and they were smoking everybody. And in halftime, they were up 25, and he wanted to yell at somebody. And Jordan was just the first person next to him, and he started yelling at Michael Jordan for, missing a pass in the first quarter. And Jordan had this big grin on, you're not kidding anybody. I played perfectly. And Knight even said, he goes, I had no one to yell at. Everyone was playing perfectly.
A couple of phone calls in here. Let me see. TJ in Hartford. Hi, TJ. I just found out that Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench will join us top of the hour to talk about the unwritten rules of baseball, once again, that were unwritten last night in the Padres game against the Rangers. Hi, TJ.
Hey, DP. How's it going, man? Love the show.
Good.
5'8", 175. So calling in today about the literary-related alcoholic beverage idea. I had an idea for a bar like this for a town like, West Hartford or Greenwich. I feel like they'd eat it up, but you've come up with a lot more of the drinks, so the wine list should be the Grapes of Wrath, and then you name the bar Book Club, trying to fire out on a Wednesday night. Hey, honey, going to book club, talk to you later. Drink of the day is required reading. The puns are endless. I'm just one ideas guy talking to five other ideas guy here. So Do what you will with that, man. Love
Thank
the
you,
show.
TJ. Yeah. Grapes of Wrath. You probably have that, I'm guessing. But somebody said there's already a tequila mockingbird. Darn it. Yeah, there is after I came up with it. I mean, all Ryan Reynolds did is come up with aviation gin. And he's good looking, too. Other than that, I think we're on the same level. Jeff in Detroit, what up, Doe?
What up, though? One time for chat roll. Dan, I just wanted to say, you guys leaving audience. I've been rocking with you since FSN, Fox Sport Network. But from you guys leaving from Audience Network, going to YouTube, and kind of losing a large part of your staff, the show went seamlessly. And I like to give a shout out to them boys in the back because they really held us down during this pandemic. Nobody had anything to look at, but you guys soldiered on. You had the setup set up in everybody's house. And I really, really, really like to tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart because that was a really, really tough time for everybody in America. And to have somebody that had a voice of reason to come in with some goofiness and some sense and kind of give it to us raw is what everybody needed. And I just like to tell you thank you as we go from, YouTube to Peacock. And I'll see you boys over there.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, we'll be starting on Peacock on Monday. And thanks again to everybody who supported us on YouTube. We had a lot of fun with that. We still hope to keep the channel and provide different programming with that. But as we get more information, as we get a little deeper into it, we'll let you know all those details. And once again, the tutorial that Mario put together on how to go from YouTube to Peacock, how to find us on Peacock, that's available on the website. It's very simple, and it's free. I made sure that when we did this deal with Peacock, I said I can't do it and have it be a pay site. And they said, no, it's free. And I said, great. So that happens on Monday. Johnny Bench will join us top of the hour. Just found out, I believe Nick Saban is going to join us tomorrow. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And also Bryan Cranston, the Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's got a new movie out. Yes, Paul.
Didn't he just get with a liquor company a couple months ago?
Bryan Cranston with Aaron Paul.
Like mezcal?
Yes.
It's like a sister of tequila, basically.
Yes. It's smoky.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask Cranston what he thought of Ryan Reynolds.
Dos Hombres.
Yes. Yeah, he sent us a couple of bottles there. But Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, they went into business. Mezcal. I'm not a mezcal fan. I don't like the smoke. Like there's too much smoke for me.
Oh, it's really good.
I've had it. And I mean, it didn't stop me from drinking it.
There you go.
But I don't need that kind of peaty, there's just certain, like scotch. I don't do well with scotch. Tried. Like you want to be grown up and you go, I'm going to have a martini or scotch, and I can't. And everybody who has tequila, or people go, I had a bad experience with tequila. Of all the liquors, you always have a bad experience with tequila. Nobody ever goes, oh, gin, bad experience. Vodka, bad experience. They go, tequila, bad experience. And I had a bad experience with tequila, but tequila has changed dramatically. Yes, Eden.
Yeah, that is funny. What tequila seems to be one of those drinks that people go to like early, whereas some of them are a little more like a gin feels like a more adult drink or something.
Yeah. Even vodka. Like it felt like it was a little bit more of a grown-up drink.
For me, it's Southern Comfort. I can't even smell it.
Yeah.
Or I'm done.
Is Boone's Farm still available? Because that was another one. Yeah, that didn't go well either. Yeah, Paul.
Back in the day in college, guys used to drink, men and women used to drink tequila shots with Tabasco in it. And on their 21st birthday or on their birthday, get really roughed up. Tequila is one of those birthday shots that people, when they were going to overdo it and choose to overdo it, I think that's why a lot of people in their 20s got messed up on tequila.
And I think that there's a tradition at Virginia that you have a fifth in the fourth quarter, and I'm going, that is going to end poorly. I remember we pulled a keg up over the side of a Dayton football game, so we actually had a pulley system, and you are lifting a keg up the outside of the football stadium. And you know what? We had some really bright engineering students at Dayton, and So we're hoisting a keg up on the outside of Welcome Stadium where the Dayton Flyers played football. All right, we'll take a break. Back after this.
Dan, Positive Paulie is rolling along. Wow. Stay with me. Wow. Lifting people up, not making fun of people at their worst times. It's a whole new me. Here's a video I stumbled upon. It's a really cool interview that was done at a gym. And it's just a guy talking to a guy about a gym on a local TV show. But watch, a cool thing happens in the background out of nowhere. And it's really neat and part of my brand, Positive Paulie.
It's a natural thing, of course. I mean, I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete myself. Oh, and it's a natural thing, of course. I mean, I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete myself.
Dan, Positive Paulie is gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Paulie Paps is back.
He has left the room.
My man was talking to the girl and doesn't realize that the what do you call it? The treadmill is going at about 80 miles an hour.
It's going Usain Bolt speed.
It's going so fast it doesn't look like it's moving.
Right, exactly right. Watch and listen.
And it's a natural thing, of course. I mean, I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete myself. And it's a natural thing, of course. I mean, I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete.
Did it fall on his shoulder, his neck?
No, wait, one more time.
Okay.
And it's a natural thing, of course. I mean, I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete.
I've been waiting all day. Hold on, Fritzy. I've been waiting all night and all day this morning to show this.
I will say he does have his mask on.
Yeah,
like he's doing all
the
right
positive
things.
Part.
Yeah, the positive part.
He was just
one more time. Just
sure,
one more.
anything.
Just one more time.
And this guy doesn't break stride.
I'm a next athlete myself.
I'm an ex-athlete myself.
The sound is so good.
Dan, I saw this last night, and I showed it to my kids. My kids thought it was the greatest day of my daughter Molly's life.
Wait, just one more time with the volume up, maybe a little more.
It's a natural thing, of course. I mean, I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete myself.
And I like this guy. He turns like, what the hell just happened?
I could work out all day, and obviously I'm a next athlete myself.
The water bottle.
Yeah, the water bottle.
Is this lie? He can't stop the interview for a second to see if this guy
He's a journalist,
break his neck.
Todd. This guy does look a little concerned.
A little.
Yeah, he does. Well, he's pissed that he interrupted his interview.
Dude, I'm being interviewed right now.
But what about, here comes the girl.
I like hey, Stacy, I'll catch you after the run.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see you later.
See you, Stacy.
Hey.
I'm a next athlete myself.
Oh, he's trying to be cool.
What's up, everybody? Marvin Prince here. Chat row, thank you guys so much for all the interaction. Got a couple of emails right here. One from Jason, talk about our literary spirits. He says, how about bang the rum slowly? Okay. I respect it. Got another email. FYI, guys, Ryan Reynolds also owns a piece of a cell phone carrier, mintmobile.com. So he sells this for another $600 million, and he's going to be a billionaire. Can't stand him. Alexa, play Some Guys Have All the Luck. Another one from Austin. He has some submissions for our literary spirits. Mary Shelley's Franking Beerstein, Oliver Vodka with a Twist, Treasure Long Island, and lime and garnishment. I think that's supposed to be like crime and punishment. I went to English class that day. Got one more from Steven. Boy, you are not a good husband. He said his wife was due on a Sunday. He asked for the remote at the hospital while they were, putting his wife, with all the stuff, the IVs and all that, while she's giving birth so he could watch the Cowboys-Texans. He had to wait in the lobby. I also think you had to look probably for a new wife, but I fell asleep while my wife was in labor, so I'm sorry. Maria, pick that up.
Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench, final hour, along with Reggie Miller. More phone calls coming up. Nick Saban on the show tomorrow, as well as the great actor Bryan Cranston. I saw what John Calipari likes the NCAA idea of a tournament bubble. I brought this to your attention probably 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that my source said they're going to try to bubbleize, and this was his expression, bubbleize the tournament. I said, well, how do we get the teams to get into the bubble? And how many teams do we have in the bubble? And he said that's right now open. Everything is on the table of how many games can you play, how many teams can qualify for the NCAA tournament. And keep in mind, if you have 22 NBA teams in a bubble, how many more can I have in Orlando, let's say? And it was proposed that they're going to have 2 different sites, maybe 3 different bubble sites. Therefore, you have like an East region, you have a South region, West region, Midwest region. Can you do that? Like, that's the idea that's being floated. That's the concept. I said, well, it's one thing to have bubbles, but it's another thing to say, how many games are we going to have during the regular season? Because the Big Ten and Pac-12 aren't having basketball until December at the earliest, January. How many games? How do you qualify? And then are you going to have conference tournaments? So there's a lot of questions here, but I saw where Calipari was talking about this and said, hey, I agree with it. Well, I'm sure every college coach agrees with it. I just want to know how you pull it off. They're trying to learn as much as they can right now. And you also have to factor in, I'm going to put you in a bubble. Do you go to class? Like, we love to, trot out the student athlete. I think we're just going to say the athletes are in a bubble right now. Maybe you do virtual classes here, but the student part of student athlete might be in smaller letters there. I don't know how they pull this off, but I saw where Calipari, he's very bullish on trying to pull this off. I don't know how they do it. Saw where parents of Big Ten players seek to make conference, quote, uncomfortable on decision to postpone football season. This is on ESPN.com. Randy Wade and other parents of Big Ten college football players want answers about why the league postponed the fall football season so early. They're going directly to the source. Wade, the father of Ohio State defensive back Shaun Wade, is planning to visit Big Ten headquarters in Illinois on Friday morning. And parents of players from Ohio State, Iowa, Nebraska, Penn State, and other schools have written letters to the Big Ten commissioner. They want details on the league's decision to postpone. It comes down to, a waiver. Will you sign a waiver that you don't hold the school responsible? Wade also said that he and other parents are open to revisiting a liability waiver for schools, which drew sharp criticism from politicians and NCAA, which prohibited their use. Ohio State in June, you might recall, they had a Buckeye pledge where you would resume voluntary workouts. I don't think they're going to reverse course. Not in the Big Ten, not Pac-12. Don't see that happening. Final hour coming up. Johnny Bench on the unwritten rules of baseball, and Reggie Miller. Lakers, Blazers coming up tonight. 2 hours in the books, 1 more to go. With Seton, Paulie, Fritzy, McLovin, yours truly, this is the Dan Patrick Show. a subtle reminder coming up August 24th, this upcoming Monday, we're moving the show from YouTube over to Peacock. Thrilled to have this partnership with Peacock. We love what they're doing. And this is so simple. We're going to do a tutorial just to let you know how simple it is to go from YouTube, downloading the Peacock app. And that's what you do. The Peacock app, available on your tablet or smartphone, or you can go to peacocktv.com, download it. You have a valid email, and then you put in whatever password you want, and then you're good to go. What you're going to notice is there's 3 tabs there. It says Channels, Trending, and Browse. Go to Channels, and you'll see the Dan Patrick Show is going to be up there. It'll be one of the top 5 shows. You just click on it, and you're good to go. And it's free. It'll take you 15 seconds to download the app, put in the email, and a password, and you're good to go. So, and if you want it on demand, they're going to archive all the shows. You're going to be able to go and watch a show in case you missed it. But anybody can do this. Everybody can do this. And just about anybody, just about everybody can do this. We'll see you on Peacock on the 24th.
Trying my best. I got a new jacket here. Last time I was so rudely interrupted. Shout out to the French kid who made this for me. He tailored it. The big commenter, the big things going on social media today are the Fernando Tatis incident happened last night. So we got one from Dustin Cooper. Baseball is also a game with incentive clauses in the contract. I'm not sure if his has any, but home runs, RBIs can be worth big dollars. Well, Dustin, I think he's a rookie, so I don't think he has any of that stuff built in yet. But, I'm sure he'll have that at some point. Next one is from SD and OC. You think the Rangers are still mad if he pops up 3-0? No way. They're mad that he hit a home run, not that he swung. Yeah, I guess. You make a good point, SD. Next up, we got James Hunt. James Hunt was, how about we write down the unwritten rules? Hashtag don't like it, stop it. It's a good hashtag. Get that trending. Hashtag don't like it, stop it. I'm Mario. And that was me trying my best.
Before you go, could you maybe throw one to McLovin? You saw his hands there.
And he's got the cutters, too. I saw him.
Yeah, he's got his gloves on. Now, I don't think you've ever thrown a pass to a guy in a cardigan before, have you? A cardigan sweater? You've not done that, have you?
This will be a first.
This will be the first,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's good. Is that 4 buttons?
I think it's a 4-button cardigan. All right.
4 buttons?
So, McLovin, go to the other side, because I want Blake to really, as we like to say it, to spin it. I want Blake to spin it a little bit here. Can he catch your fastball, Blake?
I don't know, but is everything on the wall okay?
No, you can bang into it. It's all paid for.
I can't really see. There's lights. I
can't. Wait. Give me one more chance.
One more.
That didn't go well.
I can't see the lights. Wait, I can't see. One more.
Okay.
Now zip it in here, Blake. Give me some juice. I'm good.
He got it. Yay! Blake Bortles of the Jaguars. Good to have you in. And thank you, Blake. Thanks for joining us. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
Keep this in mind.
The #1 seed amongst all sports talk hosts.
This is all or nothing for the Rockets. That ship has sailed.
Impossible to upset.
Don't touch anything over here, okay?
Okay, possible to upset, but very difficult usually.
The Lakers worked really hard to get that #1 seed in the Western Conference, and their reward was the 8th seed Portland Trailblazers. Bring in Chris Mannix, who joins us from the bubble.
Blazers, they don't defend anybody, and they haven't really defended anybody, but I'm far less bullish on Portland's chances to upset the Lakers now. The McCollum injury bothers me. Who defends LeBron?
Nobody does.
I don't know how they pull that off.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program, already in progress. Final hour on this Tuesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. A couple of Hall of Famers will join us. Greatest catcher ever, Johnny Bench, will join us. On the unwritten rules of baseball, last night, they were exposed again. The Padres against the Rangers, Fernando Tatis, with his team up by 10 in the 8th inning on a 3-0 pitch. Bases loaded, and he had the audacity to swing at the pitch and hit a grand slam. And the only problem I have is he disobeyed his manager because his manager gave him the take sign. But as far as swinging on a 3-0 pitch, you're up 10 in the 8th inning. How many are you allowed? So how many runs can you be up, and then you're allowed to swing at a 3-0 pitch? That's what I want to know. If he's up 5, then I guess you can swing. 6, are you allowed to? 7? And you're grown-ups. I mean, this isn't Little League. No, I'm sorry. You might get your feelings hurt. Little Leaguer could get embarrassed. I get that. And then Reg will join us. The Nuggets, Raptors, Celtics, Clippers pick up the win. A little bit of drama in the Clippers' victory because I didn't think Kristaps Porzingis deserved to be thrown from that game. He got ejected. I thought Morris should have been ejected as well for the Clippers because he's the one who initiated this. If he doesn't start it, then it doesn't get to Porzingis there trying to stick up for Luka Doncic. Doncic with 42, but did have 11 turnovers. If Porzingis plays that game, I think the Mavs win it. You got the games tonight: Magic Bucks in the afternoon, Heat Pacers, Thunder Rockets, Blazers Lakers. Poll question, McLovin, and then we'll get to Johnny Bench.
Would you attend an NFL game? It's 61% say no right now.
Yeah, we talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. They're looking at probably having around 16 to 17,000 fans. At least that's what their plan is. A lot of these teams do, but it depends on local and state governments here. What is local? What is your governor going to say? What are the rules for everybody else in the state or in the city that you're in? And it's going to be a state by state, city by city decision here for a lot of these NFL teams. Hall of Famer, 2-time World Series champ, and 14-time All-Star. Won a couple MVPs. Johnny Bench joining us on the program. Johnny, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I am wonderful, Dan. Nice to be with you.
Well, help me out with the unwritten rules here. I know you're old school here, but Fernando Tatis Jr. on a 3-0 pitch, up 10 in the 8th inning, was 10-3, I should say, but up 10 runs, is supposed to what in that situation?
Well, hit it as far as he can. I mean, it's 3-0. Okay, he throws it. You take a pitch. It's 3-1. Now the pitcher makes a great pitch. It's 3-2. The next pitch you ground into a double play, and everybody goes home happy. Oh, okay. So it's like the unwritten rule. If when you got a no hitter, you don't bunt to get a base hit to break up the no hitter. No, nobody wants to do that. But I can understand. I mean, they think they're getting whipped and everything else. But it's the 8th inning. Texas has a great offense, and well, we've been watching with Oakland lately. They're scoring 3 or 4 runs in the 9th inning and winning ball games that they've been trailing in. And I think this started in the early part of spring training when people said, because we're only playing a limited schedule of games, it's important to win every game. And I'm telling you, a grand slam on your resume is a pretty good little thing to have. And now I just now heard you say that the manager had given him a take.
Yeah.
3-0, I'm not really looking down to the third base coach a lot. Well,
Yeah.
what should I do here? Well, I mean, he got the bases loaded somehow. Somehow they didn't have a lot of things going on. He's 3-0 with tattoos because he's got to be really careful with this young man. He's already hit a home run in the game, and now it's like, well, you better make a pretty good pitch. It's like, oh, okay, it's 3-0. I'll just groove it and it'll happen. But I don't have a problem with it. I think it's with a limited season. I think no matter what, you've got to take advantage of every situation, win every possible game you have. And the Padres are having a great season, off to a great start, and Texas has been playing well enough. I just think if you respect the other team in two ways. First of all, you give them the respect, or you don't swing at it. Okay, fine, but okay, it's 10-3. You're up by 7. A couple of little bing bang and a couple of bloops and a blast, and all of a sudden you're it's 10-7 or 10-8 going into the 9th inning. Now all of a sudden said, "Man, I wish I hadn't had it take." No, I think it's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, and I'm sure that they understand that little frustration that they got into that situation. They got battered around pretty good. They've already given up a 3-run homer to him, and now it's 10-3. And here they are ready to do it. So he hits a double or he hits into a double in double play. The whole scenario changes. But, well, you played the game. I mean, would you have been up there hacking?
Yes. If I'm a professional, Johnny, then I'm up there swinging. I understand if this is Little League or, something, a Legion ball maybe. But, your job is to get me out, and my job is not to get myself out so you'll feel better about yourself. I mean, imagine if you're facing Sandy Koufax and you're going, "Sandy, you're throwing it too hard. We can't hit you. Could you let it?" Bob Gibson. Imagine you say to Bob Gibson, "Hey, Bob, stop throwing it so hard."
Yeah. And please, no more wrinkles. No more wrinkles. Don't start little things that spin and break down, because I'm not real good on the curveball and I can't hit your slider. So mind if you just sort of groove a couple right here and everything else. Of course, they could groove it and you wouldn't hit it anyway. So that was the situation. And, is this all we got to talk about today? I mean, is this the most important subject in the world? Some guy hits a grand slam because you went 3-0 on him, and you couldn't find the plate on the first three pitches, but you can groove one down the middle, and you just got the wrong guy.
And also, the other topic is what's going on with the Cardinals, that they put everybody else in a bad situation here, Johnny, that now you have to play all these games, but now you're forcing all these other teams who did it right, and you're not going to have everybody have the same number of games, I think, at the end of the regular season. So if you're the commissioner, how are you deciding, what you're going to base the playoffs on?
Percentages.
Yeah, but is that fair if you play 48 games, but I play 60, and I might get in because I have a better percentage in 48, and you played all of your games there?
Well, I mean, that unfortunately, as they even talked about this at the beginning of all of this when they were trying to figure it out. And then, of course, the Phillies went for the long time where they didn't play any games. And then the Marlins was out. A couple of kids go out on the street and, wind up with it. And all of a sudden now they're being penalized for make-up games and doing stuff. And you don't have enough days off to make up all these games. And now you can't fly to Philadelphia and play a doubleheader, and you can't go to St. Louis. And, the protocols were what they are. But, do you find the teams for allowing this to happen? And, does your family, all of a sudden they're the ones that got it at home, and you come home and they give it to you. You can't be for sure that the team gave it to you. And so, I mean, it's so many different scenarios, and they're going to have to do it on percentages. You cannot, like you said, you cannot make up these games. You cannot get to the point, and now the Reds got a couple of little, blips, and they're all for the weekend, and now you're rearranging all you got to do is if you're worried about your third and fourth starters, you just go ahead and say somebody's got COVID, take a couple of days off, and you bring the aces back in. Here's 1 and 2 right here. Well, let's go with them.
Wow.
Up there. I mean, are you going to penalize the Danettes for coming in and not taking care of themselves?
They haven't taken care of themselves, but now's not the time to start punishing them, Johnny.
And I'm still worried about Fritzy cheating on that test, and I don't want to bring it up again, but I mean it just wasn't, very smart of him. It's like telling your wife, yeah, I'm thinking about having an affair, so.
Well, and I realized that Fritzy actually broke your heart, that this emotionally touched you, that you found out that Fritzy, who, it seems like a moral guy, his moral compass is pointing north. He's our Ernie Banks. He's always ready to play too. And then he cheats off his neighbor's paper in high school, and he graduated second in his class of 600, Johnny.
No. Really?
Yes.
Are you serious? I didn't hear that part.
Yes, and I think that keep this in mind, Johnny. You know Fritzy's favorite baseball team?
The Reds.
The Astros. Cheaters.
Oh, no. Well, he was a front runner at that bit. But, if he were doing it, it's like the Heisman Trophy when they gave it back.
With Reggie Bush.
I would absolutely say. Yeah, when Reggie did it, gave back to USC, then maybe Fritzy should think about having that medal and finding out who that person that finished third in the class and send it to them. Also, I've got a solution because the Reds were talking about having people, fans in the stands, and they could mark off 6 or 7 seats, and then you could sit in there. And the Kansas City's talking about having 16,000. Just call it a protest. Everybody can come to the stadium.
Good to talk to you, as always, Johnny.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. That's
See ya.
That's
Good
the
help.
Hall of Famer.
Are you doing good?
Yeah.
Are you doing?
Yeah, we're all doing good. Pretty boring around here.
Okay. Well, that's the way life is now. All right. But school started back here. We got school. We got the kids back in school. They're actually in person in school. And so my life is back to routine, and I'm loving it. So we're doing well down here in Florida right now.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you, man.
That's Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer. Yeah, he called in, and then he was put on hold, and then he was like, man, I'm really disappointed in Fritzy cheating in high school.
That's tough hearing that from
it's not
a legend, a Hall of Famer.
It's not tough hearing it from us. It's tough hearing it from Johnny Bench.
I wrote a book report about him in elementary school. I didn't plagiarize it or anything. I did my studies. I read the book.
Go to rockauto.com. All the parts your car or truck will ever need. Rockauto.com. Family business founded by automotive engineers in 1999. 2 goals in mind. They want to give you direct access to all the parts information hidden in the computers and catalogs behind the parts store counter. And second, making the parts affordable by offering reliably low prices. You choose the part brands, prices, features that you want. They're there 24/7. RockAuto.com has a lot of the parts you're probably told dealer only are no longer available. They deliver the parts right to your home or office. You don't waste time and money hunting for those parts, phoning, driving, waiting in line. And make sure you tell them we sent you all the parts your car or truck will ever need at rockauto.com. Yes, Paul?
Johnny Bench mentioned something about the Padres I didn't think about. They're 12-12. Going, they're fourth in their division right now, fourth in the West. I know the playoffs are well expanded, but they can't afford any losses. No. They're not up 8 games in the division with 16-team playoff.
Nick in San Diego joins us on the topic. Hi, Nick. What do you have for me today?
Danny boy, how you been, buddy?
Great, Nick. Great.
Well, first of all, we got to give a quick shout out to Chat Row as always. Without them, none of this is possible. But basically, I mean, are we really going to harp on the San Diego Padres for hitting a home run? This team was terrible for the last few years. I mean, just give me something here, Danny. Give me something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need, like, everybody saying, oh, the rules of baseball. Well, my team can barely even hit a run last year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the Padres bandwagon, and thanks for the phone call, Nick. Swing for the downs, man, because you're the Padres, and you never know. The only problem I have is his manager told him not to swing. That's the only problem I have with this. But as Johnny Bench says, sometimes you don't even look down there to third base coach. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Like, if you look down there, you know what he may give you. If you don't look down there, you can't miss the take sign. McLovin just sent this to me. Tough start. Well, let me go to our training camp correspondent, McLovin, keeping a close eye on what's going on with quarterbacks in camp.
Yes, the much ballyhooed Patriots quarterback competition has some interesting news. Tough start for Jarrett Stidham today, according to reporter Mark Daniels. He's been intercepted by Michael Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, and Kyle Duggar. Is it Kyle Duggar, that alias that Big Cat used to play play college football?
No, I thought, isn't Kyle Duggar, isn't he part of that family? There's like 21 kids. Is that the Duggar family? They have a reality show?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Paulie.
Duggar was the guy they took out of Lenore Ryan, the hyphenated school. The Patriots.
Oh, that
took
was
him.
a big. Yeah, that's one of those ones where you went, what?
Yeah, he's a safety for Lenore Ryan.
I thought they took Lenore Ryan, and he was out of Kyle Duggar University. Like when I first saw it on the screen, and Rich Eisen's telling me, I went, Lenore Ryan just got taken by the Patriots. There, is it the Duggar family?
I have not found that.
It's not that hard.
It can't be, though.
You just go, I know, I'm joking.
Oh.
It would have been funny, like, right away, but not now.
I was going to pitch you the poll question. Would you bet a week's pay Cam Newton is starting week 1?
Would I? After today? Yes. After Jared Stidham getting
Yeah. You're just as guilty as all the other overreactors.
Why don't you spin that? Jarrett Stidham has thrown no incompletions today for the.
Yeah, the ball never hits the ground when Stidham throws. Yes, McLovin.
See, practice interceptions are silly because the defensive backs know the plays and can jump the route, just like I used to do in basketball practice.
All right, let me take a break. Reggie Miller will join us coming up next. Back after this in the Dan Patrick Show. Hiring is challenging, especially with everything you have to consider today, but there is one place. There's only one place, in my opinion, and that's ZipRecruiter. As an employer, you've got a lot on your plate. You want to make sure that somebody is helping you find qualified candidates and doing so fast and easy. ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick is the place to go, the only place to go. ZipRecruiter sends out your job to over 100 of the web's leading job sites, and they don't stop there. They have powerful matching technology, so they're going to scan thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and actively invite them to apply for your job. ZipRecruiter is so effective, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. They're going to filter candidates. They have an all-in-one dashboard where you can review and rate your candidates. And right now, try ZipRecruiter. You can do it for free just for being a listener. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter.com/Patrick. Good luck.
Okay.
What's the scoreboard? 3-1.
3-1.
2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Sorry.
You ready?
Hey, McLovin, your wife's on the phone.
Wearing heels.
Oh, no.
Yes.
3-2.
Get up here.
It's getting good.
All right,
Beauty
ready?
and the Beast.
I don't really
She's
love
playing with heels on, McLovin. Oh!
4-2.
4-2.
Okay. What is it? Where's the Nina that I warmed up with? What is this? Oh, man.
5-2.
Wow.
What do I have to do? Take you to a party?
She was.
Oh, yeah. What's her where? I can't wait.
Thank you.
Oh my God! Thank you guys.
You did great.
Just see me in flats, and it's
But
another story.
McLovin wears high heels next time. That's
I'll pick
only
you up
fair.
at 6. Oh, my gosh.
Is that good?
So I'm warming up with her. She can barely hit it. The match starts.
I know.
That was awesome.
The match starts, and it's like I'm
And
with,
all of a sudden, it's
Oh my
ball
God.
game,
A
dude.
better match, right?
Ball game.
A real match.
Yeah. I was
Awesome.
going to say some ping pong chamber, but I couldn't think of
There you
any.
That was a
Hilarious.
warm up. Yeah. Are we doing anything?
We got to get a tournament going.
We're good.
Oh, my God.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
Hope you have fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina.
Well, you rallied there. I was worried you were going to get lost. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
focus.
No. I don't know. See, up my game.
The finger, your pinky finger.
Yeah.
What play brought about that? That where is it permanently like that?
It is. We were playing the Atlanta Falcons.
Wait, you can't fix? Could they break it?
No. Well, they could. It's the tendons, but then it would be straight. So I would walk around with my pinky like this all the time, and I'd rather be able to close my hand.
Okay. So how did that happen?
So I was playing. We played the Kansas City Chiefs, and I messed it up. Somebody tried to go down and cut. Boom, messed it up. So I was wearing a little brace and the tendons, and then I ended up playing the Atlanta Falcons. And they went down again, using my hand. Boom. This time, broke it. So the plate, I had to get a plate and all that, a screw. And instead of me, like I said, getting it fixed so it's straight and I can only bend the tip, I just wanted to keep it the way it was. So I have a little plate and a screw in there. But it's part of the game. We use our hands so much. I wrapped this up and I came back just so I did not leave the game. I came back in the second half.
I have an idea. How about we come up with mittens for offensive linemen so it's impossible for them to hold and protect their fingers?
Yeah, it's tough.
What if I allowed holding? Everybody gets
They do it anyway.
I know, but often I know, but why not? Why don't we?
They're allowed anyway. I mean, they call it sometime when it affects, when it's right there. But, I mean, it's in the trenches. You got to expect it. It happens. It's okay.
Get in on all the fun. Nextgreatpodcast.com. We have over 400 entries. We're going to try to narrow it down to 10 semifinalists, and then out of that, we're going to have everybody in America who listens on iHeart radio stations. They'll be voting on your podcast idea, and then the winner, I'm going to go into business with you. You have until the end of the month to get in your idea, and then we'll help you produce the 10 semifinalists. We'll produce a podcast, and then people will be able to listen to your podcast and vote on that. But wonderful ideas, not just sports. We have a lot of great ideas. Paulie wanted to submit one on foliage, and McLovin was going to have one on shark sightings from the shore. But good luck with that. I mean, you're allowed to enter if you'd like. Let's bring in Reggie Miller, the Hall of Famer. He's out of the bubble, back in L.A., but back in Orlando on Saturday to call second-round playoff action. Where do you want to start? What games from last night or yesterday?
Let me start with the Clippers because, and I've said this on this show many a times, I personally believe they're the favorite to come out of the West and win a championship. But something is concerning me about them. Every time I'm on here, I say they have the two best wing defenders in the game, arguably, in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and rightfully so. At any given night, they can shut you down, and you're going to have to win 4 games. For the Clippers, their defense isn't where I would like for it to be. Again, it's only one playoff game, but I like to look at patterns. And, even though it was, 8 scrimmage games and 8 seeding games and 3 scrimmages, their defense, now again, they haven't been whole. Last night was the first time they were whole with Montrezl Harrell actually being in the lineup. But their defense is kind of concerning to me. Luka had a big night last night. Harden had his way with him during the seeding games. Devin Booker, if you remember, hit the game winner over Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Their defense isn't where I want it to be. I'm still picking them, and I know they can turn it on when they want. But I just don't think their defense is as good as it should be when you look at all the players that are on this team. It could be much better.
And they could have easily lost that game if Porzingis doesn't get tossed, and he can't allow himself to get into that situation. He knows what Morris's role is, and he fell for that. I was shocked that Morris wasn't teed up or wasn't thrown out because he initiated this. He grabs Luka and spins him around, and that's when Luka, like, what are you doing here? And then Porzingis came in. Porzingis blocks the shot, and then he waves his fist in the air, and then he shouldn't have been tossed from that game, Reg.
Agree with you 100%. I will say this. For the league, terrible call. Terrible judgment by the three officials. Because as you see when he walks in, number one, he's not as you mentioned, he didn't initiate the scuffle between the two. And to me, I mean, I harken back to the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, if that's an offense where you get thrown out, that can happen. But on the flip side, he knew he already had one tech, and you can't put yourself in that position where the officials are going to go to the video. And it was a terrible call, in my opinion. Play on. This is the playoffs. You want your best players on the floor. But I can see where the league is different than it was in the 90s.
But I wondered, Reg, about we've seen this with baseball. They don't want bench clearing brawls. They don't want any altercations. Granted, baseball players are together. You know, they're you know, I think there's a tight leash that they're running here, and maybe just the optics of those guys getting face to face with one another, and maybe the NBA, unless they haven't warned the players, but it felt like they're trying to be overly cautious with something like that. So I don't know if that played in.
I'll tell you what, Theodore, if Porzingis has a problem with Marcus Morris, hey, dude, I'll meet you at the pool after the game since we're staying in the same hotel. So all this, you know, puffing out your chest and being tough, dude, I'm going to see you in 2 hours in the mess hall. So why do it on the court and jeopardize, you know, your team's success or defeat when you can meet up with a dude a couple hours later, you know, by the pool?
Luka goes for 42, but has 11 turnovers, and a lot of that is he really has to force the action. When you watch the Mavs an entire game, I come away with a different appreciation because it's like Iverson with the Sixers. You have to create offense every single night, and you see that with Luka. 11 turnovers. You know, he called it a terrible game. It wasn't, but he was trying to do the best he could, and, you know, he's going against the Clippers. What did you think of Luka's performance?
Now, remember, for the Mavericks, they play 5 out. They have no low post threat. So they're all surrounded on the three-point line, and it's all predicated on the dribble penetration of Luka. So when Hardaway and Curry and Porzingis, you know, they do a lot of high screen and roll with Luka and Porzingis. When those guys are knocking down threes and then Luka's able to get all the way to the hole because you're guarding the threes, this Mavericks team is very difficult to beat. But because they don't have that low post threat, you're right, it puts so much pressure on Luka to, you know, be the penetrator and make sure everyone else is fed. And at times it can be exhausting. And he's trying to force the issue. And I will say this, the length of the Clippers, again, I wish they would be a little bit better defensively, but the length of the Clippers, because these guys can play multiple positions and they've got to be able to make multiple plays defensively. And I think that's where the turnovers are coming from Luka, is because of the length of the Clippers are able to, you know, absorb his penetration. And they're almost basically saying, okay, well, you can get your 30 or 40, but we're going to shut everyone else down. And I think we kind of saw that in game one.
Better series, Thunder Rockets, Blazers, Lakers.
Oh, I want to see both of them. The only reason why I will go with Blazer Lakers is because right now the headlining show is Dame Dollar. And his sidekick, CJ McCollum, playing, you know, with an injured back is must-see TV. Now, for the Blazers, they can score with the best of them, and they've got two closers in the two guys I mentioned. Problem is, you can get whatever you want against them at the other end. They were very fortunate to even be in the playoffs because they didn't control their destiny. Karis LeVert controlled their destiny and missed that shot in that last game. So if he makes that, we're not even talking about it. And in my opinion, they just took advantage of a very young and inexperienced Memphis Grizzlies team. Cream Rose and those guys have been deep in the playoffs. They understand what playoff type basketball, even those were playing games, they understood in the moment. The Memphis Grizzlies and John Morant were probably just happy to be there and playing well and had a chance to win that game and didn't. But now you're going against LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma. Yes, they haven't shot the ball particularly well, but more experience, and you're going against 2 top 10, 2 top 5 players in AD and LeBron. So yes, you got Dame and CJ, and you got Biggs and Nurkic and Collins, and you got, look, Carmelo has revamped his career, but you can get anything you want against them. And that's the problem why everyone's saying the Blazers are going to beat the Lakers. Let's hold up on that for a little bit.
And also, Anthony Davis is making his playoff debut. He played a lot of meaningless games. Great player, meaningless games. Now they mean an awful lot. And it might help him that he is not at Staples or not on the road, from the standpoint of a home court advantage for somebody else. He's in the bubble, and with the sterile environment, I don't know if that helps him or it at least doesn't hurt him. Because at Staples, the crowd is going to they're going to want you to be the best player on the floor. Not LeBron. AD has to be the best player on the floor. I wonder how he processes all this, having not been in this situation before.
Theodore, I'm going to say this. Anthony Davis has to be the best player in this series. Not LeBron, not Dame Dollar, not CJ McCollum. Anthony Davis, and even going forward, but particularly in this series, he has to dominate Nurkic and Zach Collins. He cannot let them off the hook. And so many bunny shots that he missed in those 8 seeding games, did not shoot the ball particularly well, wasn't aggressive enough. To me, 18 to 25 field goal attempts. He's got to get to the line 10 times. He should be averaging 30 plus versus the Blazers. Because again, defensively, this is not the Clippers. He should get whatever he wants. And if I'm LeBron and he's 26, 27, I've got to use these young legs. Get me to the promised land, young fella. And he's got to be the best player in this series.
We were wondering this earlier in the show. If I said you could have Luka or Kristaps Porzingis or Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Wow. I would probably go with Jaylen Brown and Tatum because they play both ways. Luka and Porzingis are fantastic offensively, and I know Porzingis is a great shot blocker, but to me, Tatum and Brown, and I think this is a coming out party for Jaylen Brown. I personally felt he should have been on the All-Star team this year. They went with Kemba and Tatum, and that's fine. They deserved it. But Brown is having a coming out party down in Orlando. And, he's really become almost their second best player behind Tatum because of the knee injury to Kemba.
Yeah.
And Hayward, he got hurt last night with an ankle injury. So to me, Jaylen Brown is the second best player on that team. So I would probably go with those 2 guys from Boston, but that's no slight to Porzingis and Doncic.
He's Reggie Miller, the Hall of Famer, the Turner Sports analyst. He'll be back in the bubble on Saturday calling second-round playoff action. Is there still the knock on European players that they're soft, that you can be physical with them? Because I wondered with Luka, feels like the best way to guard him, like putting a body on him, being physical with him, even though he's a grown man at 20, but that was always the label back when you played. European players were soft. Are they still viewed as soft?
Absolutely not. And for those people that think that Luka is like that, you're talking about he's a grown man now. He was 13, 14, 15 playing professional basketball against grown men. So you're talking about a young boy who had to grow up quickly. So absolutely not. He's as tough as they come. And I think the mold, a lot of that was broken from Dirk and from Manu, Detlef Schrempf, who I played with. Those guys were so mentally tough and physically tough as well. So I think.
Well, they made fun of Dirk when he first got here. I remember he said that.
A 7-foot jump shooting. But if you look and evolve throughout his career, tough as nails, played hurt, could play through injury, No, Dirk was one of the toughest guys that I ever had to play against.
The Thunder and Rockets, I wonder what's at stake here for the Rockets, Reg. When, they went all in, gave up those draft picks. They got rid of Chris Paul. Harden and Paul didn't, coexist. Now you bring in Russell Westbrook. What's at stake here in this playoff?
Probably bragging rights. I told you so, Daryl Morey for Chris Paul.
But is D'Antoni's job at stake here, Reg? If they don't get to the Western Conference Finals, I get the feeling
could be
Mike D'Antoni.
Because I didn't think Alvin Gentry would be let go with all the injuries to Zion and what was going on with the Pelicans. I really do believe D'Antoni could be dead man walking if they don't get to the conference finals. But again, they're starting this series from everything I'm hearing without Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
So you're not having your second best player on the floor. As great as James Harden is, and he's been fantastic even in the restart, he needs Westbrook to be effective in that dribble penetration, because when you're going to play 6'7" and shorter, which their starting lineup is, you've got to have dribble penetration. And Harden can get all the way to the cup. But what made them so successful is they had two guys that could do that, and that opened it up for Gordon, for Covington, for Rivers, those guys knocking down shots. So to only have one, and if you're the Thunder, you have plenty of guys that can cover James Harden. Not necessarily stop him, but try to wear him down. It's going to be very difficult, in my opinion, for them to get out of this series, depending on when Russell Westbrook comes back.
If you could have Ja Morant or Zion Williamson?
Ja Morant, right now. I know I'm probably going to get killed for this. Well, it depends. Am I a struggling organization? I just want to put people in the seats. I'm going to go with Zion. If I'm trying to win right now, I'm going to go with Ja Morant, because Ja Morant's going to give me 75 to 82 games during the regular season. I don't know how many games Zion is going to play, Theodore. He's got to get his body straight. And look, I don't want to kill the Pelicans, but to me, I think they're just doing him a disservice by saying he's okay at that weight, where clearly he is not. As soon as the lockdown happened or the suspension of play, I would have had a staff member with him that whole 4.5 months, working on his game and making sure he ate right. He is too big. So if you're asking me if I want to put people in the stands, and I'm going to go with Zion, because that's what he's going to do. I don't know how many games he's going to play. Ja Morant he's going to be one of the top point guards in the next 3 years, maybe even sooner.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I said Ja Morant because there's uncertainty with Zion, and we know that he's in a race with his body, because you can only be so big for so long and be able to do what he's doing, whereas Ja Morant's going to get it bigger, and he's going to fill out, and he's
naturally.
Yeah. And so I said Ja Morant too, but I'm with you. If you're putting fans in the stands, you want Zion. Before I let you go, we talked about unwritten rules in baseball, when you can swing on a 3-0 pitch. Like in basketball, in the NBA, what is the unwritten rule? Let's say you're up 15 in the fourth quarter in the final 2 minutes. Are you allowed to take a three? Are you allowed to dunk or celebrate or anything like that?
Absolutely, because I'm sure role players are in there, and we always tell young players or whomever is playing in those 2 minutes, play your minutes. These guys are professionals. They're getting a paycheck every 1st and 15th. This is not college where you try to be politically correct. No, this guy that you're facing, he is getting a paycheck. Play your minutes. Now, some of the unwritten rules, if you're up double digits and the shot clock is running down and the game is almost over, then you don't want to take a three. Then you don't go the hole, because then I'm going to probably try to take you off the air. The game is over. Okay? So that's an unwritten rule. And that was kind of the issue Kobe and I had when that fight happened between us, which will be a different story. I'm not going anywhere. You go look at the footage. That's what kind of led to that little altercation between Kobe and I.
Wait. Explain that, though. Can you give me a little bit of the backstory on
Look, you're going to win the game. You're up double digits. So let's say there's 30 seconds left in the game, and it's a 24-second shot clock. What you're supposed to do is take the violation, let the shot clock run down, so there's only 6 seconds left. I take the ball out 6 seconds, we go home. You don't try to jack up a three to get your stats or whatever.
I'm looking at it right now.
Doing, and he and I were having words about that, and then that's what led to the fight. But that was Kobe being Kobe, and we just had a little disagreement.
He shot it right in your face.
He shot it. He didn't make it, but he shot it right in my face, and then I got in his face, and he got in my face, and then.
And you guys were buddies, weren't you? Weren't you off-season workout buddies?
We were early on in our career.
Oh, then he used you.
Yeah, this happened after the fight. Yes, early on. We did MTV shoots together, same agency.
Yeah.
I raised him. I put him under my hey, I gave him nooks.
Yeah.
He was all that for me. Come here, little fella.
I got Shaq moving the entire pile in this.
Shaq was picking up guys like with his fingertip, like this. I was like, yeah, that was it. See, I missed that. I missed.
Oh no,
anything.
you don't. No, you don't.
This is scrappy. Look, Porzingis gets thrown out for looking at Marcus Morris crazy. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I know.
Come on, man.
I know.
Soft. Soft league.
I got Austin Crozier. He's all
he
scratched.
He got it bad. Austin got it bad. Austin got it bad. It was a good fight in Staples. The game was over, and we went at it. That's what was beautiful about it. Oh, I miss it.
Oh, Ron Artest is trying to break it up.
You see no one going around wrong.
Oh man. And then Shaq is just separating people. Where are you in there? Are you in the
Me and
bottom?
Kobe were on the scorer's table at the bottom. We're at the bottom. Oh, it's great.
I got Isaiah in there. Jermaine O'Neal. Phil Jackson's in there.
Yes. It was good.
You got Hall of Famers in there, man. And this is right at the end. Oh, there
the
you
game
are.
was over. We're supposed to be walking to our respective locker rooms and tunnels. And then he said something to me. I said something to me. We turned around. We locked eyes. And it was on.
Look at Austin Crozier's jersey is ripped. Kobe's being escorted. He wants a piece of somebody there. Oh, no, he's coming back for more. He wants. So do you ever discuss that after the fact? Did you and Kobe ever talk about that?
We didn't necessarily talk about the fight per se. We kind of kissed and made up. I think maybe my last year, which was 05, 06, we kind of, hey dog, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. It was kind of blown out. It was a little bit fake bro.
Yeah.
Like I love Kobe because that dude's a competitor, and I like having fights with guys that are similar to me. And maybe that's why I got in it so many times with Jordan. I put Kobe in that same breath because I look at them and I see myself in the mirror.
But I still go back to the story where you said if you saw Jordan in a restaurant, you wouldn't know if you would either say something to him or punch him or not say anything, right?
Right. No, I would probably be cordial and say something. I mean, you have to.
You just say hi.
Hey, how you doing? Your airness. And keep it moving. And keep it moving.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Black Jesus.
Yes.
Enjoy your meal. Hey, have fun. Hope the family's safe, and then we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Theodore. Love you, Danettes.
That's Reggie Aloysius Miller Jr. III. We'll come back, and final call for phone calls after this. you have so many of these roles in such great movies, iconic movies. You know, if I'm asked, Dazed and Confused, Good Will Hunting,
Yeah.
what would come up first if somebody said, "Aren't you the guy?" or they would ask you about that movie in general?
It kind of depends where you are in the country, actually. But if I'm in Boston, it's Good Will Hunting. If I'm, in New York, it's probably Higher Learning. Dazed and Confused, definitely in Austin.
What was that like? I mean, how old were you doing Dazed and Confused?
I was actually 17. Yeah, I was the proper age, and a lot of the guys were. It was 17 to 19 years old, most of the actors.
But McConaughey was the
older.
star.
Yeah, he was 21. He was the one buying beer.
Who did you think would be a star from that cast?
It never occurred to me. I mean, when you do those movies, especially as a kid, like when I did School Ties, I did it with Matt and Ben and Brendan Fraser and Chris O'Donnell and all these guys. But we weren't thinking in those terms. We were just trying to make the greatest film we could,
When did you know Dazed and Confused had sort of this cult-like following?
It's funny, yes, because when it came out, Gramercy released it, and it came and went. I mean, it was a weekend, literally. So it made no money in the theaters. But when I realized it was a real success, I was walking through Blockbuster back in the day, and it was attached to Fast Times at Richmond High. And I was like, oh, my God, Dazed and Confused and Fast Times together in a box cassette? That's when I was like, this is obviously doing very well as far as a cult classic,
All right, congratulations to David in Kentucky who figured out the scoreboard for Tuesday, August 18th. Let's start with 12. The clue was Machine Gun starts circling wagons. Machine Gun starts circling wagons like Machine Gun Kelly. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. He obviously wore number 12, so that's where number 12 comes from, Jim Kelly, because on this day in 1986, Jim Kelly signed with the Bills. 21, on this date in 1934, he wore uniform number 21, talking about Roberto Clemente, was born on this date in 1934, and again, he wore number 21. So you got Jim Kelly for number 12, Roberto Clemente for number 21, Kelly signing with the Bills on this date in 86, Clemente born on this date in 1934. Congratulations.
Who would you say you sort of tried to emulate?
I was a huge Joe Montana fan growing up, and I wasn't anywhere near Joe Montana, but the way he played the game, how smooth he was in the pocket, kind of his body control, that's somebody I always tried to emulate, and failed miserably at being as good as him, but that was my all-time guy.
Did you meet him?
I've never met him. That's on the bucket list, so hopefully I'll get to do that one day.
Would you ask for an autograph or a picture?
I'd go picture. Yeah, I'd go picture.
Now, I also saw where you were nervous to meet Mike Tyson, another one of your guys that you sort of idolized or admired. We just had him on last week, and he's still kind of intimidating. What did you think when you first met Tyson?
Yeah, I mean, he was like the nicest dude ever, but when he walks in, I mean, you've seen him, he's huge. I mean, he's a big man, big head, arms, traps, and so the more cocktails we had at this racing event, the more it seemed like a good idea to go say hi and get a picture. But a great dude, very friendly, and was very accommodating.
When did you become a boxing fan?
Really just watching him growing up. Obviously, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, one of the all-time great video games, and got into it. And we'd have, watching parties on pay-per-view, pay a ton of money to watch it back in high school.
Nick Saban will join us on the show tomorrow, as will the great actor Bryan Cranston. A couple of phone calls in here. Aaron in Indiana. Hi, Aaron. What's on your mind today?
Hi. So today is my brother Braden's 27th birthday, and he's a longtime listener, big fan, and all he asked for was a shout-out from you.
No, I'm not going to give your brother a shout-out on his birthday, Aaron. Not Braden.
Okay.
No, you did a great thing by calling in. I'm glad you did. You gave him a shout-out as well, but happy birthday to your brother, and Aaron, thank you for calling in. See, that's where not everybody gets my sense of humor. Right there was a classic example.
Okay.
Yeah.
That Dan Patrick, he didn't even give a shout out.
My wife brought this up to me the other day, where I had one of my corny jokes and somebody took it differently and they were bothered by it. And then my wife says in front of this person, not everybody gets your sense of humor. And I go, yeah, that's on them. So my bad, Aaron. I was just joking. You already gave your brother a shout out, and I was just trying to have a little fun. Grant in Arizona joins us on the program. Hi, Grant.
Who can we wish happy birthday for you, Grant?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's funny, Dan? Oh, first of all, 5'11", a hard-ish 135. I said hard-ish. Now, I can relate to you because nobody gets my sense of humor. They all think that I'm serious, and then people think that I'm like, a jerk. But I wanted to give you guys a shout-out because I have struggled with mental health for quite some time. And ever since my dad introduced me to your guys' show, I think last October or November, you guys have been basically a beacon for me, and it's been a great source of bonding between my father and I. So I really appreciate you guys doing everything. So, yeah, big shout-out to you, Dan, Fritzy, Paulie. I also love Rush, Seaton, and McLovin. Thank you guys for everything that you do.
Well, thank you, Grant, and good luck with that. We appreciate that. Yeah, Paulie.
That's very emotional that he likes Rush.
I think he was emotional about
the dad.
The other part of it, bonding with his dad.
Yeah, can't.
But
relate.
I don't know.
Can't relate.
I don't know. With my sense of humor, who knows? Now I feel bad about Aaron in Indiana. Is it Braden, the brother that turns 27? Braden, happy birthday. Remember I did that to Jake in L.A.?
Just trying to give my opinion. Like
Oh, God. That stayed with me. I cringe every time we play that, where I was just trying to... he had a take on the Celtics, I think. And he's like 8 or 9 at the time. I just want to say I think the Celtics... I go, oh, okay, Jake. Yeah, the Celtics.
I think the Celtics could really be the team to beat this year. I mean, they just look like a mess. And
Wait, Jake, don't overreact like this. You're better than that, right?
I'm just giving my opinion like I'm supposed to.
I know, I'm kidding.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no, Jake, I'm
so-
kidding
it's
with
so
you.
painful.
I know.
It's
okay.
so
You know I
painful.
love it.
This is so painful.
Oh, come on, Jake. You're better than
I
that.
know. This day in sports history, got anything?
I think it was eight years ago today. You chastised a 12-year-old boy on a national radio and television.
Oh, shut up, Todd.
That was mean.
Larry Bird retired 1992. Earl Campbell retired on this day in 1987.
Okay. Let's go around the room what we learned on the program. Todd?
According to our poll, the majority of our audience not ready just yet to attend an NFL game.
That's what you learned?
I learned a lot of things. I learned that Johnny Bench is disappointed in me for cheating in high school.
We're all disappointed in you. McLovin?
I learned that after Todd tried to take this day in sports history, now he's going after the poll question.
Seaton O'Connor, what did you learn?
Johnny Bench very disappointed in
Very. Paulie?
I heard somewhere that Syracuse freshmen report to school tomorrow.
Yeah.
My son Jordan, he's going to Syracuse.
Todd
tomorrow.
won't be with us
Freshman
tomorrow.
year.
Hold your applause. What we learned brought to you by Raycon. Raycon wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Thanks for joining us. For all of those in front of the camera, behind the scenes, we appreciate their effort. We're going to do it again tomorrow. Nick Saban and Bryan Cranston. Hope you'll join us then.